I did it. Hi, everyone. I just started the stream all by myself. Brian just told me what button to push. Hi, guys. Oh, I just hit the microphone. That wasn't smart. Everyone, please welcome MK Ultra. You know him. We're very excited, and like I'm falling apart. To talk about MK Ultra. So it's gonna be fun. I'm excited about it. Never been so glad it was a Blue Lizard stream day. Oh, thank you. And thank you, Knitfast, for the bits and the resubscription before we started. You are wonderful and beautiful. Thank you. And hello, Ricky. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you. So we are going to... Gracias. So we're going to be talking about the CIA mind control experiments called MK Ultra. And art-wise, we have one of the big things today is going to be, oh, we don't have the second camera set up, but we have the TYT desk here that is all printed, so I'm going to be painting that. We also have a little tiny stool for Franny because she's a stand-up comedian and they all need stool. And then we have JR, we have Emma, we have Franny. So we'll see what we wind up doing. Yeah. So MK, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm MK. You can call me Matt or MK Ultra. Either one's fine. I'm sure all you guys know me from the chat. So here I am.
So why don't we start with the question that I told you I was definitely going to be asking, which is why did you choose MK Ultra as your handle, considering how wild of a topic it is?
Yeah, it is kind of a wild name. Back in probably, I would say, early 2000 or late 1999, I used to listen to a radio show called Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. And it was a kind of government conspiracy kind of show. And one night I heard that they were doing a chat room. And so I got online and went and found the chat room. And someone in there suggested a screen name to me. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I've heard of that project before.
How old were you?
Didn't think much of it. Probably, let's see, if it was 2000, I was 23.
Okay.
23 years old, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
I was like imagining like a little baby being like MK Ultra.
Yeah, it was a really old radio program. It was on AM radio. It was in the night, and you would listen to it. It was really kind of like a podcast before podcasts exist.
My dad used to listen to AM radio stuff. I cared about it because there was the Radio Disney channel and another kids channel on there. Of course, he is the MK Ultra. He's the MK Ultra. You are the MK Ultra, apparently. And thank you for the pride, Rude Ricky. I'm very proud of myself for whatever horrible thing I managed to do that made you sarcastically say that.
All right, Raffle Iron, down in chat. Down, boy.
Smeagol's not on camera. What are you talking about?
I said Raffle.
I know. I'm responding to Raffle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, so someone in a chat room told you that you should do MK Ultra as your username, and you were just like, yes, and then found out what it was?
I knew it was, as much as I knew about it, was that it had something to do with assassins, mind control, and LSD. That's all I knew. And when I really started researching it, I was amazed at what I found, and it was shocking and interesting and seemingly science fiction, but taking place in real life in the 1950s and 60s. So it just kind of drew me in from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna ask something, and then it went away immediately. I know that's a surprise for you. You were proud of you. Oh, for starting the stream on my own. Thank you so much. I clicked a mouse button. It was a hardship, but I pulled through. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Andrew. Nice to see you.
Hello. He was helping me get ready before the show today. He was very good helping me out.
Oh, I remember what I was going to ask. When did Zoolander come out? Like, did you have that as any sort of context when you heard about MK Ultra?
I think I had seen Zoolander. I'm thinking that's around the same time. It was probably 99 or 2000 when that movie came out.
2001.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay, so it was right after that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like
And then,
when
course,
I first heard about it,
happened,
that was the...
That really got me more into conspiracy after that, so...
I, like, after moving to New York City, I wound up doing, like, a huge deep dive into 9/11 research on my own, like, not for a live stream or anything. I went to the different museums here and just, like as many documentaries and everything, including, like, conspiracy theory ones, because I want to know what everyone has to say. I'll have to do that as a topic one day and give my thoughts and opinions. I think they'd be unexpected.
Yeah, it's a crazy topic. There are a lot of different opinions on it, and I know it's like a very touchy subject with a lot of people who have their beliefs and other people have very differing beliefs, and there's not a lot of room to meet in the middle in that subject.
No.
Hi, Armac and Sock Puppy.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, well, whereas this one, I find it interesting that this is even labeled under conspiracy theories, because it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a thing that happened.
Well, it was a conspiracy.
Like, yeah,
I was gonna say,
it was a conspiracy
on
fact.
that topic, there have been some books that came out that were surrounding MK Ultra that some people took almost to be fiction when in fact they were real. So it gets labeled a conspiracy a lot in that way, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's say, just in case anyone doesn't know, let's say that we're like do an elevator pitch of what MK Ultra is. Like, you were trying to convince someone to go through with the project. Like, you're one of the bad guys.
Trying to convince them to do it.
Yeah, just be like, okay, let me tell you about this awesome project that I have an idea for. Go. And then that way everyone can figure out what it is.
So am I the person trying to get someone to allow me to do the project, or... Okay.
Yes.
You're the project manager in charge of a bunch of like really crazy scientists.
Yeah,
and
you're trying to get
we can
funding.
Totally do this, and you're like, hey, Senator, I need you to finance this insane shit.
You don't have to do it in first person. You can just be like, all right, so there's these scientists. Like, you don't have to be like, I'm doing this. I just figured like that's a good way of summing it up.
Okay. Well, Senator so-and-so, how would you like to be able to ensure that you could make any foreign adversary look like a complete and total moron with the sip of a drink out of their coffee cup? You could discredit them. We can make assassins for you that don't remember themselves the killing. They don't even have to live with the guilt. We can make people forget all of their troubles. We can let you rule the world with this, basically. That would be my elevator pitch.
That's a solid elevator pitch, yeah.
Yeah, that's fairly
That'll get
accurate.
a lot of senators. Like, imagine Manchin hearing that. My gosh.
I mean, if you look at it historically, they wanted to use LSD to discredit Castro in Cuba. They thought they could poison him before one of his long speeches that he would give to the Cuban people, and he would get up there and make an idiot out of himself, and everyone would think he's lost his mind, and it would discredit him, and it would bring down his government. But they never were able to get the person to give him the LSD. But it was on the books. They had it all planned out.
Was LSD already like known as a drug in popular culture? Like, what's his name? I can't remember the name of the gentleman who discovered it, the bike ride and so on. Was that already known, like, in popular culture, or was this something that not many people knew?
It became known in popular culture until Timothy Leary popularized it, I think, in California. I know that his his slogan was tune in, turn on, drop out, and he wanted everyone to drop acid and have the spiritual journey that he felt he had gone on and wanted to share with other people. So I think that's when it really became mainstream. People started writing about it in newspapers. People started knowing about it. It was more of a household word by then. But before that, it was just something only known to chemists, probably.
Hold on, I have to pick up the keyboard that Danny just threw on the ground.
I just want to catch up with chat. But first I had to be like a cat. I want this thing. Well, I want it on the ground. Okay. How do I not scroll? Why am I not scrolling up? What am I doing wrong here? Gosh. Why is it not scrolling?
Give it to me.
Okay, Smeagol. Okay, there we go. It gives our government a whole new look. If people knew about MK Ultra, I feel like many people don't realize that our own government used it on American citizens, and people definitely wouldn't look at the federal government like they do. Yeah, it would definitely be there's a lot of disillusionment that comes with learning about this topic, for sure.
I also like how Paige spelled MK Ultra like you do in your
like
username,
the handle,
implying that everyone needs to know about you specifically, not the project.
and it'll make them look at the government differently.
Yeah.
Well, Raffle Iron is willing to buy 12 MK Ultras, and Alien Sock Puppy says, "I'm convinced now that MK Ultra was a good thing. Great pitch." This would never work nowadays because everyone in politics is already an idiot. Ooh, that's true. Like, remember when what's his face was like disqualified from being president because he couldn't spell potato? Like, remember?
And the thing is, like, it wasn't
Simple
even
time.
that stupid of a mistake either.
Yeah.
It was just like, if you take potatoes, the plural of potatoes, and you drop the S,
Right.
it has an E at the end. Like, that's a reasonable mistake to make if you're just like having a brain fart day.
Yeah.
But that was enough to like, it was Dan Quill. You're correct, Raffle Iron Chef, if I
When a
remember
fifth
correctly.
grader outdoes you in spelling, it's pretty bad.
Raffle, how would you discredit them? Imagine if, like, some weird looking dude went up on stage and started rambling for hours about imaginary shit that's not real, and that he's the best and he does all the best stuff, and like all this crazy stuff that you're like, there's no way that's true, dude. Like, I know that that's hard to imagine, but like, imagine if you could get like the president of the United States to do that.
Just ramble on for hours with no,
and everyone
like,
around is just like, what?
Yeah,
Huh?
well, no, the big difference is
Yeah.
everyone watching would be like, okay, that dude has clearly lost his mind.
Yeah.
One
Instead
thing
of
I
going
know
like,
by
yes,
watching experiments that were done on people with LSD is that a lot of them get overheated with body heat and take their clothes off. So that's also
Yes.
an added bonus.
Yeah, woohoo. That's why it's a party drug, I guess.
kinky.
So here at Clyde's prime rib. We're gonna get to that, Rude Rookie. We're gonna get to that. But America's done fuckloads of human experiments without the prior knowledge and consent of the subjects, which are now declassified. Yeah, when the Nuremberg trials happened, America was just kind of like, yeah, we're not gonna sign up for all that, like, agree to not human experiment non-consensually stuff. Like, all of you can sign that, but we're gonna go do our own thing.
When the Nuremberg trials were happening, America was just taking notes.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, the Nazis first took notes from America. Like,
Yeah, and then refined it. And
Yeah.
America's like, thank you for the beta testing.
yeah, basically that's exactly what happened.
Well,
Some weird looking
speaking of
dude
the
rambling on
Nazis,
stage.
do you want to talk about the Nazi origins of MK Ultra?
Yeah, let's do that.
Was this also part of this has come from Operation Paperclip as well?
No,
Yes.
that's a different thing. But
Oh.
there are
But
people in
it
common.
was actually, there were some people who were brought over in Paperclip that ended up working, if not in MK Ultra, alongside some of the same scientists
Yeah.
that were working on it.
Yeah, but like
That's what I meant.
officially they were not connected.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I meant
Okay.
like, did they get
But
the
they had people in
Nazis who
common,
worked
yes.
on
Around
it
the exact
through
same time
Paperclip?
period, though. Exact
Yeah.
same time
Yeah.
frame.
It's kind of like when they were working on Pocahontas and The Lion King at Disney, it was at the exact same time. And like all of the really important people were going over to Pocahontas because everyone was like, well, Pocahontas is going to be the big hit and everyone's going to love that. And so all the like nerds were over doing The Lion King, and they're like, we can do whatever we want because no one's going to care about this movie. And I feel like that's kind of the equivalent, and I'm not sure which operation is Pocahontas and which one is Lion King, but they're happening at
Well,
the same time. There's some people in common.
Lion King would probably be MK Ultra, and Pocahontas would probably be our space program, because a lot of the paperclip scientists were working on the U.S. space program and the development of the Apollo program.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't suspect that there would be a lot of scientists that would have the breadth of knowledge and expertise across both programs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you don't really run into a lot of
heavily engineering and then heavily medical scientific skewed difference.
Yeah. There's not a lot of scientists that are well experienced and qualified to work in both medical sciences and rocket science.
Know that I believe that they considered giving LSD to prospective trainee astronauts to see how they dealt with an unexpected or emergency situation or medical poisoning or anything that would be unexpected for them to have to deal with. And they thought that that was a good analog to seeing how they would deal with it in a response to it. I don't believe they ever went through with it, but I believe I read somewhere that it was suggested.
Andrew asks if it was just acid or other drugs. Other drugs as well. Heavy focus on LSD, but they were also using cannabis. They were using cocaine, like anything. I think they also did mushrooms.
Cocaine, barbiturates, all kinds of adrenaline.
They were just trying to find
downers.
like a truth serum type thing, and they were willing to throw whatever it took at it.
Yes,
and they're like,
LSD
no,
was
this drug?
originally supposed to be used as a truth serum, and they realized in testing that it didn't really do that, but they found other uses for it.
Well,
So
it happened,
that's when
it did
really-
it sometimes, but it wasn't consistent enough for them to use it officially. Like, because people have such wildly different reactions, they're like, well, we can't
Exactly.
have this as,
It's not a guarantee.
Don't forget, if you decide to grow a conscience, they will use MK Ultra on you and kill you and make it look like a suicide when they were bringing them to a psych ward. I think that's a couple different things combined into one, but yes. Imagine an LSD flashback on the
They
moon.
did try to make people think they were crazy. That was part of the goal, was to make someone see if they could believe that they were losing their mind.
Yeah, and I was like looking
surreptitiously
into
dosing them.
how like they had like a side project doing this to see if they could use like basically, okay, if someone's having a major LSD trip and we are able to bring them off of that trip, right? Apparently the symptoms is the wrong word, but when you have an LSD trip, it is similar to schizophrenia. Sometimes, not always, like it can be.
Yeah.
And so they were also looking at it like, can we find a cure for schizophrenia by finding a cure for LSD? Sorry.
Right.
But yeah,
sure
like, so I thought that
lot
was
of
interesting.
research
I
that
didn't
was
know about
related
the...
to psychiatric conditions. There are many, I think, that can be caused by prolonged use of LSD. Schizophrenia being one of them. I'm sure obsessive compulsive disorder is in there. I'm sure attention deficit disorder is in there. I'm sure psychopath, sociopath
I think also
is
like
in there.
epilepsy was also in there, maybe? I'm not positive. I feel like that was, or maybe I'm mixing up something else I was reading. Not sure.
I mean, it was very much we're just going to throw drugs at the wall and see what sticks and see what happens.
What
so
does
like, there wasn't a lot of planning of like, oh, we think we can cure this. It's just like, I don't know, maybe these things.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were like, no, it wouldn't cure this. It's just like, whatever.
When you read about some of the things that they did, you're like, who ever in their right mind would read this and approve it or say, oh, great, continue? It boggled my mind that some of these things happened in the United States to people without, their knowledge sometimes or their approval of it, and it just ruined some people's lives, unfortunately. It even got one person killed, who I will talk about later.
Oh, I got more than one person killed because it turned Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, into the Unabomber, and so all the people that he killed are directly because of MK Ultra. There was another one like that, but
Now, speaking of the Unabomber, like there's some things that he wrote in terms of like what he believed were going to be problems in society and over the next like 30, 40 years, where you go, huh, yeah.
No, he was
right
about a lot of stuff. The thing is that,
but like his approach to like preventing it was like way off base.
yes.
Yeah.
The thing was that like he was like this normal college kid, and then like MK Ultra came to his campus and he agreed to participate. And even though some of his friends were telling him like, you shouldn't do that, he was like, it's fine, like it'll be good. And like they broke him. Like they did these experiments that involved taking drugs and then like, well, first he had to like fill out all these questionnaires about like his dreams and, you know, his hopes and like what he wants to do in the future and everything. And then they drugged him. And then basically just like, conditioned is not the right word, but like just told him like, your dreams are stupid, you're stupid.
Basically, it's almost like partitioning a computer. They make a trauma so great that your mind basically fractures in two pieces. And one side they control, the other side you control. And it's always a fight between the two.
Yeah. And like, who knows?
So
he had these like really strong beliefs and opinions, and if this hadn't happened to him, who knows what good he might have done, you know?
Or was like also because of the natural tendency of LSD to widen one's perceptions in the first place, was that just how his perceptions were widened enough to realize the problems and also to send him way off into
well, he was
field.
going, it was like Yale or something. It was like a smart kid school for like kids who can do stuff.
Right, but I mean, like smart people sometimes
because of the young minds, and they were open to new ideas, and they were suggestible. So that
they usually want money. Like the college kids are usually broke. So if you're like, I will give you $100 to participate in this experiment, without telling them it'll also ruin your life, a lot of college kids are going to be like, $100? Yeah, totally. Danny is not drinking alcohol. Danny is drinking ginger ale that is unfiltered and organic and fancy. Yes.
Very bougie.
I wanted some fancy ginger ale. What can I say? Okay, let's see. Can you scroll up in the chat a bit, please? Gotta catch up. Okay. All right. Even now, there's speculation that microdoses of LSD could help with PTSD. I have seen that, and I'm intrigued by it. The only drugs I've done are obviously cannabis, because you watch me do that. And I tried mushrooms a couple times for like extreme pain relief purposes.
I know they've done that experiment also with psilocybin on post-traumatic stress with good results as well.
Oh my gosh, mushrooms, that was like the best I think I've ever felt. Like, don't do it around electronics. That's my... let's see, LSD turned the Unabomber into Nostradamus. Give or take. Whoa, comment down, Trenchy, condemning the Unabomber's methods too controversial. Let's be honest, that is exactly how they treat mental health. It's just throwing drugs and hoping to survive. That's a really good point, Paige. That's exactly what mental health treatment is. It's like, okay, that didn't work. All right, let's try this other one. Yeah,
that, however, like a lot of modern mental health treatments is like, we're going to throw drugs that we know have worked for this in the past for other people to see if they will work for you. MK Ultra was about, we're going to throw these drugs at everything and see which mental disorders it can cause and which ones it can fix. And it turns out, just cause, no fix. At least on the skills they were dealing with.
Right. They were giving them ridiculously high doses in some cases. I mean,
and this was like also like in the 70s, 60s, like the unfiltered heavy dose stuff. So it was like not only a lot of it, it was also like pure. Amazon Prime has an excellent document. Hey, Julian, I was just wondering about you like yesterday. I'm like, I haven't seen Julian in a while. Has an excellent documentary about MK Ultra and other substances called Drugs Used as Weapons Against Us. I will have to check that out. That's like almost 10 pizzas. This is in like the 70s though, Raffle. That's like 100 pizzas. He was exceptional amongst the exceptional. Yes. Unabomber was a math prodigy. I think I remember reading about that. Yeah, like he was this like really smart kid who was gonna do stuff.
Yeah.
Hannah Ellis, welcome. Lovely to see you. I'm not sure how you found us, but I'm glad you did. If you go below the video, like so the bottom right, you'll be able to see there how to follow, subscribe, whichever you want to do. Welcome. Glad you're here. I was a guinea pig for using ketamine to treat depression, joking aside. And I have a friend who does IV ketamine, and it is a really huge help. The taboo against drugs, because like we don't know that much about them. Like the only way to know is, anyway, we'll get into that. But yeah, I hear that ketamine for depression is really effective for some people. MDMA with combination psychedelics.
People have had like year-long results from some of those.
Yeah. I like some of the people from like the 70s wound up having like lifelong effects because of how strong and how much and everything, but like it definitely does seem like there's a lot of potential there that we really need to explore, and in order to explore it, we need to get rid of the taboo. MDMA with combination psychedelic psychotherapy has good efficacy for treating loss. Interesting. Pizza is way cheaper in New York. Blue Lizard Guts in the 70s. But they do have dollar slices here.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, I have been walking down the street and just like, I'm hungry, I will have a dollar slice.
Yep.
In this like shop that's just right there at the corner.
Pretty great. No. Okay. Danny, we don't know what you're talking about. We've never seen you smoke weed. I know. I'm very subtle. Down here in Florida, it's like $13 for a pizza. For whole pizzas, it's a lot more. Could I get a link to do it? Because I'm having a little confusion. There should just be a follow button or a subscribe button, like right below, like right there.
If you look from the gentleman's head
Matt,
in the middle
point
there.
down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah. You should see a follow button there. Once you follow, you should be able to subscribe after that.
It's a little
if you
heart.
want to subscribe. Follow is on Twitch is what you do when you want to just like see when the person's coming on. Subscribe is when you want to like pay them a certain amount per month. So if you're just trying to follow, you just click that follow button on the screen. Yeah, just click the follow button. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Let's see.
Just click on it. That's it.
I tried K a bunch of times for the first time. A bunch of times for the first time. Last summer, honestly, Matt wasn't impressed. I've never tried it. Like, I had really good experiences with mushrooms. It helped a lot with pain. Like, it was just a really mellow feeling for the most part. When I took a little more, I wound up having like this really fantastic like experience. Yeah. Drugs can be fun if you do them responsibly.
Yeah. I mean, I've taken LSD in both situations. I've been in a situation that wasn't great when I was on it, and I've been in a situation that was fun when I was on it. So they're very different experiences, and you should always probably be with somebody you trust and in a comfortable environment and prepared, not just do it on a whim kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or where you can't be safe and in control, for sure.
That's a weird freeze frame for me.
Oh.
He paused to the screen, and I'm like doing like this, like I'm very emotional about it. Did you see the geometric patterns? Oh yeah. But don't look at lights. I learned electric lights not good.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Knitfest. Thank you, Rude Ricky.
There you go, Hannah. You got a subscription for free.
I took just enough that everything looked brand new and shiny. Yeah, it was like just like a really nice mellow. And then like when I stood up and I looked into an electric light bulb, I was like, oh no. Like I just wanted to like be calm and not in pain. Like that was basically it. Yeah.
God, considering how attuned I am to technology on like a fundamental level, it makes me wonder if like I would like take LSD and then just or mushrooms and just want to like live in a computer, like turn on all the LEDs.
There's a comedian I love. Hopefully some of you have heard of him. His name is Mike Birbiglia. I've loved him since like 2005. And he has this like really like early joke from like 2005 where he's talking about how he was at a club and this girl was like, here, you want to try these drugs, like it'll make you feel the music, and he's like, I don't even like them. Like, do you have drugs that will make you feel pizza? Like, because I'd be interested in pizza drugs.
Yeah, I think that's just cannabis.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like the idea of being on like drugs at like a club with strobe lights and I can't even fathom why people do that on purpose. That is so overwhelming to me.
Yeah,
Just
too
to
much
think about.
sensory input almost.
Even
Overload.
without drugs, it's too much.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could tell
I
just
agree.
from looking at me because of how cool I am, but I'm not a big club person or party person, and I haven't been ever. But yeah. Anyway, MK Ultra.
Yes.
Okay, so we were going to talk about the origins. So we mentioned it already. I think it's worth repeating. Nazi eugenics, they got the inspiration for it from us. They took notes from America. They were like, okay, America's got this down. Like, let's see if we can refine it some. So they took it. What did you call it? Like the testers or
Beta testers.
beta testers. There we go.
Yeah, America treated Nazi Germany as a beta testers for genocide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
then they were like, okay, cool. We got your notes. Awesome. Okay. And now we're going to apply those as we want.
This is all a bad thing, just to be clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very bad things happened for sure in Nazi Germany, especially with the Lebensborn. Are you familiar with that? The Lebensborn camps where young German women were sent who were pregnant, and they basically took the babies and just were going to raise them, I guess, to be German soldiers or basically the
That
poster
was like
children
a-
for the German state and its purity.
Yeah, that was like a project that was like everywhere though, not just those camps. Like it was international. Like it wasn't even just in Germany. Like they were
Yeah.
taking babies, any baby that was born looking Aryan or like passably Aryan would be taken to be raised correctly by a good German family.
Right, and they wanted to enter. That's part of Mengele's experimentation, was to find out the ways to possibly make women have multiple births, because they wanted to have these people that had the traits of the blonde hair and the blue eyes to reproduce and create more perfect, ethnically perfect in their eyes children.
You just got
And
a
multiple,
raid
if
from
they
your
could.
friends. I don't know if you saw
Hmm?
that. You just got a raid from your friends that you mentioned would be joining.
Oh, hi, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda Conda Creates et
Yes.
al. Lovely to see you. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you
to
for
support
raiding.
MK.
Thank you for rating, Amanda. I appreciate it.
We are having a lot of fun talking about drugs and mind control.
Yeah.
Lovely to have you here. How was the stream?
And just as a heads up
She's-
for everyone,
she's
we are
working
talking about.
on a bonsai tree. She's making a bonsai tree.
Ooh,
But
it's
I
out
haven't
of,
cut your stream in a while. I'm gonna make an effort for catching that.
I
Sounds
always
super
get it
fun.
wrong, but I think she's using cosplay or... Amanda, is it cosplay or is it Sculpey? I always forget. It's one of those.
I saw this woman make one out of like this giant, like it was this tower of wires, and she just took them and like rolled them around and then until it became like a bonsai tree, and then she like used the wires and like opened them up and then like made little cherry blossoms on. Oh my gosh, it was the coolest. I was a little
That's
obsessed with it.
amazing.
I want to give
Thank you,
everyone
Ricky.
a heads up that
And
we are
Sculpey.
talking. We are talking about the history of the MK Ultra experiments, which means that we're talking also about the history of Operation Paperclip, where the United States recruited a bunch of Nazi scientists, which means we're talking about, at least to some degree, the history of Nazi Germany, which means we're talking about the history of racism and genocide in the United States as well. So those are all going to be mentioned. These are all horrible things that happened. We may not necessarily say that they're horrible every time, but just to be clear, like, we're going to be talking about them a lot of times like as factual events. we're not saying they're good. They're just like, we're describing them from the perspective perhaps of the people who were making the decisions.
Right.
Smeagol's not on camera today. Normally there's a dog on camera, but not today, sorry. She'll make an appearance at some point.
My cat is around here somewhere, but I guess she's shy right now.
Amanda, I'm sure that it's like, I'll have to find that video. It's really cool. Like, but it looked hard. Like, this woman, she was wearing like a sweater. Under the sweater, she must have just been ripped. Like, I was amazed. A night of light conversation. Yes, that's right. Alien sock puffy. I told MK earlier how like last night I just did like a light refresher on Joseph Mengele for some lighthearted fun in the middle of all the drug stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it's funny. The music is so beautiful and light for a topic so heavy. I can't hear the music, but I helped choose what music it is. So I'm glad that it works. I like a good juxtaposition. Let's see. Okay. So you were saying about the US taking eugenics from Germany, who took eugenics from us. Go. I don't remember exactly where the raid happened.
Yeah. Basically, what I was saying was that the paperwork that they basically handed off that he did, he was posted at Auschwitz, and some of the things that he did to the people there were pretty horrendous, to say the least. He had an obsession with twins, and he had an obsession with people with heterochromia, which is two different colored eyes. So there are people with, one brown eye and one blue eye, or one green eye and one blue eye. He seemed
really
to have
fast.
an interest
Thank
in
you
them
for the
some
follow,
reason.
Rich. Sorry, really fast. Thank you for the follow, Rich, and welcome. That is an amazing handle. Stoluxotus. I love it. I don't know how to say it, but I love it.
Subtle Lotus, I think. It's
Subtle
amber.
Lotus?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Subtle
space,
Lotus.
not an X. Subtle Lotus. Got it. Ooh, that's fun. I like it. I like it both ways. Welcome.
I think I'm saying that right. She can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. It's really fun to look at, honestly. But yeah, like the Mengele, my God, that man, like he would be like he's the only person, the only like Nazi officer who would go to like, I feel weird calling it arrivals, but like when people arrived at Auschwitz, it is a mic on my glasses, yes, and we 3D printed a little thing. I'm not gonna take.
Yeah,
But
don't
yeah,
take that
we
off.
3D
It
printed a
won't go
little
like
thing,
easy.
and I color matched it to the glasses.
It looks very nice.
Yeah. Thank you. I just ordered some more glasses, so I'm gonna be working on more mic things soon, which is gonna be fun. Thank you. So yeah, so he would go to like where the trains were arriving with all of the people, and usually you had to like be assigned a shift for this, and he was the only one who would show up even when he wasn't scheduled because he didn't trust anyone else. Where can you buy? Well, we made it.
Yeah, Pseudolux is that it's actually custom designed for that exact frame of glasses, down to the micrometer.
I mean, we could definitely make some for you.
Yeah,
if you want to
3D
send me
printed it,
a whisper, we could figure it out.
Yeah. I'd
really.
need very precise measurements of the glasses for them to fit on. But yeah, we can definitely try to make you some.
Let's see. Yeah, so like he did not trust anyone else to get all of the twins. Like he was like, you guys are letting twins through. And so he was there for almost every single arrival. And
they said that he also just kind of took a great joy in the selection of these people he was going to perform brutal experiments on. He would like come and sing while he was doing it.
Sorry, sorry, you said he was enjoying it. He would like come.
He
and
would
then you paused.
hum.
Oh,
He
hum!
would
I thought you said
and
come.
just sing. Yeah, no.
Yeah, like
He
one
would
of the things
hum
that
and
people say
sing to
about
himself.
him he was big on whistling. He would wander around the camp whistling cheerfully, and so like whistles
Right.
became a major trigger for survivors.
Right.
And thank you and welcome. I'm gonna say subtle. That's what we said. Subtle. Yeah.
So,
We are talking right now about Dr. Mengele from
yes.
from the Holocaust. We're talking about Dr. Mengele and how he
He was the Nazi medical director at Auschwitz.
Yeah.
Medical and big ass quotation marks.
Yeah, and then our big topic for this week is MK Ultra, the CIA mind control experiments, which have links to Mengele. So we're kind of backtracking. Yes.
And in terms of, is this a specific documentary? No, this is kind of like an overarching knowledge garnered from many different sources.
I'm kind of a nerd about research.
Yeah, so there's usually several days of research per episode that goes into like finding all of the information from multiple sources, just to make sure we don't have incorrect information from one source. You know, we try to get as broad of a sampling as possible.
Yeah. But yeah, and like one of the things was like, even though he clearly loved doing it, he didn't make like a big production out of the actual act of selecting people. Like he would just stand there and people would walk by and he would just kind of like do like a little motion to the left or the right. And like if you went to the left, you survived. If you went to the right, you went straight to the gas chamber.
Right.
And like
I believe he had some of the children, he would like give them candies and sweets to try to, entice them to come with him and do the experiments.
He had them call him Uncle Doctor.
Calling him Uncle Mengele.
Uncle Mengele or Uncle Doctor, yeah. And like he would build up their trust until it was time. Hold on. Let me catch up on chat really fast. A real life Marvel villain? Yes, correct. There was a Victorian London judge who apparently would come when he sentenced someone to hang, but it's probably a rumor. How exactly people would find that out, fuck knows. I'm gonna guess the laundry people.
Or just the fact that anyone like that would brag about it.
Yeah. I'm super into history and I'm a research nerd too, so I was like, this sounds familiar, but I don't know where. Yeah, I do like all sorts of history. We've been doing a lot of true crime lately, but it's all history. And yeah, we just chat and hang out while we learn. It's fun. At least I think so.
I always enjoy it.
And now you're in it. Oh my gosh.
I'm in it. So cool.
All right, I'm gonna go locate an extra camera so we can get one on Smeagol.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, we need some Smeagol action. Definitely.
I know. She's sitting in the window staring at me. You wanna come here? Come here. Come here. Smeagol, come here. Come here. Okay, I'm gonna take that box. I'm guessing the mic picked that up.
That will come around, but I don't think she will.
All right. Okay. They say Adolf became orgasmic when he would do his speeches. I don't know if I believe that. That dude had a lot of.
He seemed more just in a
issues
passionate
with
fury,
his
it was
health,
like a
including.
He was on a lot of speed. I know that
hold on.
his
Am I
doctor
muted or are
injected
you
him
muted?
with a lot of amphetamine.
Someone got muted.
So
Who's muted? Or maybe I just can't hear you.
can you hear me?
Oh, the headphone died. That's the problem. Hey, Brian. The headphone thing died. Oh no. What? Oh, okay, say words.
Hello? Can you hear me?
There we go. Okay, it wasn't that it died, it's that Brian wandered to the other side of the apartment. And so it stopped cooperating. Sorry, so what were you saying?
I lost my train of thought.
Let me chat. So Hitler had a lot of
Adolf Hitler. I was saying that they gave Adolf Hitler a lot of amphetamine. His doctor was injecting him with basically methamphetamine. So he would
not have lived
basically
long past the war.
Yeah. He was just worked up because of the drugs, I think, mostly in most of his speeches.
Yeah. Lots of drugs. Yeah, he was not doing well. And from what I understand, he was completely impotent. But I'm not positive on that. I know
Well, I
he
would
wrote a lot of fan
imagine
fiction.
injecting massive amounts of methamphetamine can't be good for your libido.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Are we gonna talk about the twin who is surviving? Oh, I actually recommended that documentary to Matt earlier. So there's a
I need
documentary
to.
called Forgiving Dr. Mengele, and it's about one of the survivors of his experiments, and yeah, it's and how she forgives him and like has worked to heal through that. It's fantastic. I think it's on Prime or Netflix. I don't
I'll
remember.
definitely have to
Um,
check that out. It
he,
sounds really interesting.
he her twin didn't die at the camp. They both survived. Once a twin died, both twins were dead. Like no
Right.
twin outlived the other for more than like a couple hours, if
Yeah.
that. So they both survived, but she died. She died like later of illnesses that were caused by the experiments. We think. But yeah, he would inject them with stuff, and she still has no idea what he injected her with.
He would inject them with things that would probably get you arrested for assault today.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
just
yeah.
insane.
Drug
The
use was rampant during the
depravity
war.
of this man cannot be stated clearly enough. I guess I should say he was pure evil.
Yeah, yeah. Drug use was rampant during the war. Oh my gosh, meth Nazis are a real thing that existed and are terrifying.
Yep.
Speed, the original super soldier serum. Yup. Dare I say more our ancestors than
For
now
you Star
way
Trek
more.
fans, the white.
I don't understand that reference.
No, it's the Jem'Hadar. They're a race of
Okay, he got it.
drug-controlled super soldiers.
That much meth turns into Tony the Tiger, but like without the teeth. Dr. Mengele totally enjoyed torturing his victims and totally enjoyed knowing that families gave him their kids thinking it was good. Yeah, because it was basically like if you give me your children, then they're not going to be sent to die right now.
Right.
You know, and so people were
get
like,
to
yes.
live through horrendous things before they die.
Yeah, and like he would also enlist other prisoners. There was one in particular who wound up like being forced to become basically his assistant. And the things that those people were forced to do just to survive. Like one of the guys wrote a memoir, and I've read parts of it. I haven't read the whole thing. It's very intense.
I can't even imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. But
do we want to move
no one
to
does
Sid
work.
Gottlieb, who took over MK Ultra in the post-war days?
Yeah. Go
Okay.
for it.
Sidney Gottlieb he is what they called the poisoner in chief in one of the books that was written about him. And he was responsible for acquiring the LSD from the chemist and using it in the project. He took basically all of the notes from Mengele and used it as kind of a jumping off point for something new for the United States. His elevator pitch was that they believed Russia was doing this similar kind of research, and that for defense purposes that we needed to do it for ourselves so that we could be prepared in the event they tried to use things like LSD on our troops. So
fortunately, the government has never tried anything like that since. Being like, well, the bad guys are doing it, so even though we're the good guys, we gotta do it too. They never tried that again, ever.
Right.
Yeah?
Bioweapons and all kinds of things like that still to this day go on, so.
Okay. Is Smeagol being picked up by the mics? I hope
heard
so.
her a little bit, but not very much.
Oh, that's too bad. She's being very loud. Brian turned his mic off so you can't hear it. I thought y'all were hearing her.
I just heard a couple barks, but...
Humans are bad, drugs are drugs. Yeah. Agreed. Can you scroll up a little, please? Okay, there we go. I know the gem radar, the white is food and drugs.
Jem'Hadar.
Yeah.
Jem'Hadar.
Jem'Hadar. Yeah.
I don't know what that.
Star Trek.
It's in
Oh,
Star Trek.
okay, that's why I don't know it. No one does war on pot except the U.S. And they lost.
Yeah.
Drugs won the war on drugs.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate congratulate drugs for winning the war on drugs.
Did it.
Yeah,
Got there.
I got the words out of my mouth hole.
It's fucked up. I remember the father of one of those early American beheading victims of ISIS, anyway, he did a BBC interview and forgave them. I was like, they fucking tortured and cut your own freaking son's head off and filmed it for millions, and you're forgiving them for Jesus? Seriously, fuck you and fuck Jesus. That's how a lot of people reacted to the woman in the documentary about forgiving Dr. Mengele.
Yeah,
Like, she got
imagine.
really bad feedback from fellow survivors and their families and stuff, and
But
she
I
kept doing
mean,
it.
until you've walked a mile in somebody's shoes, you can't really judge them. They have to come
Yeah.
to their own determination on that. That's their life. It's, in my opinion, it's their business, not any of mine.
And she's not saying, like, I forgive you on behalf of everyone. She's just saying,
Right.
I forgive you.
On behalf of herself.
Yeah. Let's see. Drugs are wonderful. I watched that documentary, and the sister died of kidney failure. That's right, because her kidneys didn't fully develop past the age they were when they had gone into the camp. They only found that out after she died, and the family wanted to know why her kidneys failed. That's right. I couldn't remember what it was. I knew it was something from that. People just call it Daddy.
He often would take people's organs out, and he would take one of their kidneys out just for the sake of taking it out, see how they responded. I mean, he just did crazy things to just suit his own insane thoughts of what medicine was or what experimentation was.
And, like, one of the most, like, okay, everything about Mengele sucks, okay? One of the more frustrating things about him and what he did is that, like, so all Nazi experimentation on humans non-consensually is horrible and bad and should never have happened. But we did get useful information out of some of it, right? Because there's some information you can only get when people die in a controlled environment. I'm not saying it was worth doing it, but we did use some of that information. Mengele did not give any of that, because Mengele started, like, his focus was on twins, and he started taking fraternal twins, not just identical twins. And when you take fraternal twins, you might as well just be taking siblings, which means that those experiments are useless. And so basically he, not convoluted, but like his own research and work was not convoluted. What is the word I'm trying to think of? Like dirtied, sullied, tainted, corrupted. That's good. I'll go with corrupted. By his own, like, he just became so greedy and ambitious and wanted to get as much as possible that he, like, forgot everything that makes science.
Yes.
More than he already was, obviously.
He is.
And yeah, so it's like, we didn't even get any information from you.
Of what not to do in medical ethics. I mean, if you want an example from A to B to Z of everything you should not do, he did.
Okay, let me, can you scroll up, please, on chat? I just realized that I didn't finish catching up. Okay, here we go. Smeagol is not scared. No, Smeagol is very intent. She really wants me to try and touch the box, but she's acting like she doesn't want me to touch the box. So watch what. And I don't know if you can see her tail going crazy back there. She loves it. Okay. Super. I was MIA for a minute there. I was making a batch of soap. Oh, sorry. Redoing research on Dr. Mengele and then talking about Mengele, and then you come in saying, I just made soap. My brain went to a bad place. Hate and anger are expensive emotions to maintain. Sometimes you have to forgive to unload the baggage to move on. Yeah, I agree. She must have read my chat because I'm thoroughly convinced she's tougher than me. Contaminated, that's what it was. Yes, thank you. That's why I should look at chat when I'm trying to remember things. We learned about the physiology of hypothermia and shit that the data the Americans got a hold of after. Yeah, like
That
there
is
was good
very
information
true.
that we got. It was just
Yeah.
not from Mengele.
Right.
My brain isn't smart enough for all these asterisks. Oh dear. Um, she also struggled with forgiving him too, but after her sister died, her grief also turned into depression, anger, and hate. Her sister and her were the only survivors out of the whole family after they were freed. Yeah. Yeah, because they survived because they were twins. They got pulled out of the line for the gas chambers because he saw twins. And the rest of their family kept going. But yeah, what was I gonna say? If you're new, the stream is tagged ADHD for good reason.
For a reason.
Yeah. Anyway, what were we saying?
Let's see. What
Oh,
should we
you
talk
moved
about
on
now?
to the next person. You moved on to the next one.
Do you want to go to Frank Olson?
Yeah, we can totally do that.
Okay.
By the way,
Um,
the hotel is currently being demolished as we speak. Well, probably not right now. They're probably at home. But like tomorrow, they're going to continue demolishing it.
Oh wow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. It closed in April 2020, so it was like an early COVID casualty.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, that is the
But
hotel.
what hotel are we
where,
talking about?
Frank Olson was a biochemical scientist for Fort Detrick Army Research in Fort Meade, Maryland, and worked on things like the sarin gas, other like chlorine gas that they used as a biological weapon. His basic job was to perform some of these experiments and evaluate the results of the tests. Some of these were done on animals, some of these were done on humans.
Thank you, Sutaloxis. We'll see you later. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you for the follow. Alien Sock Puppy, the hotel that we're about to talk about is being demolished right now, which is sad because otherwise I would totally want to go there and check things out. But
yeah.
I really enjoyed the time. Until next time. Yes, I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much. Totally normal government scientist. Yes, everything is cool and not suspicious.
Right, at this point. He is invited to what is referred to as a fishing weekend at a place called Deep Creek in Maryland, where he is surreptitiously dosed with LSD.
Hadn't he been kind of like speaking out a little bit and being like, hey, what we're doing is kind of fucked up?
There were
Or am I mixing that up with someone else?
There are comments that he had made to some of the people that he worked with. One of them was his a good friend of his named General Hewitt. He reported it to the security department, the technical services security division of the program, and that's when they decided to invite him to this fishing weekend. And they were going to basically give him the LSD and interrogate him to see what his responses would be if, say, a Russian agent pulled him off the street and took him into a Russian safe house somewhere here and tried to interrogate him about what he did for the research in his field.
Right.
So,
yeah, and like, so I started watching the Wormwood show on Netflix, and
I just rewatched that recently. I highly recommend that if you want to hear more about the story, because it goes into great detail for what they know and what they don't know. His son
it seemed really good, but I didn't finish it.
Many years of his life researching his father's death over this, so.
He's an interesting dude. I listened to some interviews. I paused Wormwood because I was like, this is really good, but it is very, very slow paced. I am in a rush to research. And
it is kind of
like it's also
it's
like
six episodes
acted out.
and that they
Like, I'm definitely gonna watch it later, but I was like, okay, this is not good for research. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, so like, they really, like, anyway, yeah, I don't remember what I was gonna say. Go on with what you were saying, sorry.
Well, basically after they had dosed him with the LSD, they put it in his drink, and he didn't know he was being dosed. At some point, they tell the people in the group, some of you have been given this drug that we're evaluating for a test. And they basically take him back into a room and shine a light in his face and start asking him questions. He says a lot of things that they don't want to hear, and basically decide that he needs to go see a therapist in New York, a psychiatrist, who is actually turns out to be an allergist who practiced some type of psychiatry. And
When you go to the back of the apartment, you can't take the thing with you. Sorry, I stopped hearing you abruptly because Brian was wandering around the apartment. I apologize for yelling into the microphone, everyone. Continue. I heard back up like a sentence, please.
Okay. I think they took him to the doctor who was practicing some sort of psychiatry, but he was qualified as an allergist. They took him there to be evaluated again to see if they thought he was going to tell anybody and break security clearances that he had signed with his job in biochemical warfare, basically.
It's like the COVID denier doctors who are like chiropractors. Like yes,
Yeah.
I trust your expertise in this matter.
Right. He had suspicions that they were giving him amphetamine during that trip to make him not be able to sleep. They ended up going back to Washington. This was over Thanksgiving in 1953, and it's ironic because he died on the night of what is my birthday, or the next morning, the day after.
Aww.
But
Welcome
it
to
was
the
just
Birthday
after
True Crime
Thanksgiving
Club.
weekend, and he was in the hotel room, and mysteriously, the report says either fell or jumped out of the 10th story window and fell to his death. There was another man with him in the room that he worked with. This man was Lashbrook, was his last name. He, I believe, was part of the security for the project that he was at Fort Detrick. So he is suspected to be the one who possibly let the hit team in the hotel room, and they found him in the bathroom. That when the police finally came up to the hotel room, they found Lashbrook in the bathroom smoking a cigarette, his hands in his head, and he said he just either jumped or fell. So that was his story.
Yeah, didn't he say like I was
was
asleep and like the crash woke me up or something like that? Like something
there
that
were
it's like
two accounts. He gave two different accounts. One was that he was asleep and heard the crash and woke up. The other was that he had gone to the bathroom and then heard the crash and stayed in there, I guess.
Because he was scared.
Either way,
to be fair,
very, very fishy.
We're dealing. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
I was going to say we're dealing with a government which is like mega dosing people with LSD. So for all we know, it's like that may be he remembers both of them because he may be out of his mind.
Yeah.
Right. I can't imagine, first of all, being given LSD and not knowing it, or just finding out after you've already started to feel the effects. And I know that his wife said that there was something that happened there at the Deep Creek Lodge where the coworkers were laughing at him for some reason. They alluded to in Wormwood that he walked out in the middle of the lake or something like that and gave all of the wrong answers that they didn't want to hear in the interrogation. Like, he would tell people about what was going on, and he couldn't live with his conscience, and he did want to get away from his job or his responsibilities. So that was
and
when
he
I think
came
they decided.
home and like just told his wife like I've made a terrible mistake and walked out, right? Or something like that, where it's like you can't just say that to your wife without context.
Yeah, I think she said he was despondent and depressed when he came back from the creek, and said that he had made a mistake. And basically, I think even at that point, he had already in his mind thought that his life or his family's life could be in danger if
Yeah.
he did what he thought he was going to do. And there was an
Yeah.
ironic bit in it where he went to go see a movie about Martin Luther, the religious figure, and being forced to recant and not being able to follow his conscience. And it was just kind of ironic that he would see a movie like that before all of this
Little
happened.
heavy-handed
They
with the
thought maybe
metaphor
it
there.
led him to decide that he needed to speak his conscience about what was happening.
Yeah, that's funny. When
Yeah.
life is like, I'm gonna be like a movie right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, here's what I understand is that they were, so basically they were like, okay, we're gonna start drugging our coworkers. You can sign up if you're cool with that, and and then you can also sign up if like you want to be surprised. And that's how it started. And then slowly it became everyone's gonna get surprised. Like there's no exceptions. This is no longer voluntary. And this was also at a time where like
evaluate it as an interrogation method, basically. Yeah. I think that was the experiment that they were going for at that point with him.
One of the contexts that I realized while doing research was that like today, like our culture, we are aware of LSD. We are, like we've seen movies where people go on LSD trips, so we know like approximately what happens when you're on a drug trip, right? But at this time, no one knew about this. This was not a thing that like you were aware happens sometimes to other people. Like this is, you think you're dying or going crazy because you are not aware that this is something that can happen. Whereas if we suddenly started like hallucinating monsters and stuff, we'd be like, what kind of drugs did I have? Whereas in the 50s, if you're hallucinating monsters, you're like, Satan is after me. Like there's no questioning the reality because you are not primed to question that reality.
They had to believe that they were losing. I mean, they thought they were going crazy. So
yeah, they didn't have these kinds of examples as something that could happen to someone, even if they had no reason to think that they themselves were drugged. At least today, I'd be able to go like, Jesus fucking Christ, apparently someone dosed me with LSD. Who the fuck would do that? It reminds me a little bit of the movie Death at a Funeral.
Yeah.
I just made him watch that.
And then,
a couple months ago.
Imagine once you're surreptitiously drugged, you basically tell some of the scariest people that you work with that you're not happy and you want out, basically. And imagine that they threaten your family. They say you need to go talk to a psychiatrist. They take you away from your family, isolate you away from people, get you alone. I mean, he had to be thinking the entire time, when is this going to happen or how is this going to happen? I think he almost had a foreknowledge that this was inevitably going to be his end. I don't believe he himself jumped, but I believe he was helped out that window for sure.
Okay, let me catch up on chat. Andrew wants to know if this inspired the 6 Feet Under plotline of someone jumping off a building roof because he thought he could fly.
I know that was actually a different story that happened in Los Angeles, I believe. It might have been San Francisco, but I believe it was in Los Angeles, where a teenage
Cecil
boy
Hotel
had a bad trip and thought he could fly and either jumped off the roof of a building or out the window of a building. I know it was in the 60s, I believe.
I did an episode on Cecil Hotel in LA, and that's big Cecil Hotel energy, but I'm not familiar with that particular story. But there are so many deaths in that fucking hotel that like there are plenty.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was that one.
Like that's the one, if anyone is not familiar with the Cecil Hotel, that's the one that American Horror Story used as inspiration for the hotel season.
Wow.
It's right by one of my favorite bookstores. But yeah, so like, Oh, chat. Scroll up, please. There, okay. He is a sucky one-to-one. He doesn't know he can't sleep. He made a mistake and needed help, is what I've heard. Let's drug coworkers. As Oprah says, you get drugs. Everyone gets drugs. Check under your seat. I ate a whole weed brownie once and thought that time was going to stop and I would die. Oh my gosh. The only times I've ever tried weed brownies, nothing happened to me at all. And I'm talking like an entire brownie. And not be told first must be fucking terrifying. Not only not be told first, you are at your work being interrogated by your boss, who is the government.
Yeah.
And also Satan.
Yeah, and also
has
Satan.
18 heads, and he's licking the inside of your ears.
Yeah.
Right.
Raffle says that you have a cute round turtle face, so take that compliment as you will. You have a cute round turtle face. Can you scroll down, please? Lots of crazy shit happened in the 60s. You cannot eat a whole brownie worth of weed. Fantastic.
You can't.
Yeah, I can. But I have stomach issues, so.
I
once ate an entire weed brownie by
I don't
accident.
like edibles that much.
The only edibles that work on me are like hard candies. Like if I'm sucking on the edible, if I'm eating the edible, it's not going to do anything.
I personally cannot stand cannabis in any form whatsoever. I don't like it. It's fine. I'm glad everyone else enjoys it.
That's exactly how I used to
It's
be.
not for some people. I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
It's just not for some people.
I've tried it, and I understand the appeal. It just doesn't appeal to me. But I inadvertently ate an entire weed brownie at a friend's house. Oh, I'm out of control. I can't think clearly anymore, and that freaks me out. But yeah, I was once at a friend's house, like a housewarming party, and they had brownies out. And so I just chowed down on the entire brownie, and because I smoke cigarettes and I don't have great taste buds anymore, I did not detect the unique flavor. And then one of my friends who knew that I hated weed, sees me finish that, he's like, that's a weed brownie, right? I'm like, you're fucking kidding me.
No.
Yeah. I only switched to weed a couple years ago because I didn't want to be on Vicodin anymore. And I've been dealing with so many back surgeries.
Very good way to switch because opiate pain receptors seem to have some type of benefit when you switch from it to marijuana. You start to...
Yeah.
It probably lessened the effect of stopping that. Because if people normally stop opiates cold turkey, they're going to feel some obvious pain and withdrawal from it. So it probably helped with that a lot.
Yeah. It was weird because when I had such a high tolerance to Vicodin at that point, I was taking 40 to 50 milligrams 4 to 5 times a day, where when I started, I was taking 5 milligrams a day every couple weeks.
You build a tolerance very quickly. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. And so I was like, I can't do this to my body anymore. And so I kind of was like, I need to get used to weed. Even though before I didn't like it, I didn't like the smell of it, I didn't like smoking, I didn't like the way it made me feel. And my ex was a total stoner at the time, and it drove me crazy. And now we laugh because that's very ironic, that I smoke more than him now. But yeah, so it was just okay, I need to make this adjustment. And so I started with tinctures and oil, and then just kind of moved my way up, figuring out what worked for me. And
in terms of how much she smokes, I want you to imagine Snoop Dogg walking up and going, Jesus fucking Christ, relax.
Snoop. Oh my gosh, Snoop and I would have the best time. And he would be really impressed.
He would be concerned for you.
Yeah. Also that. It's not my fault. I just have a high tolerance. It's who I am. I didn't ask to be this way.
I think it's good.
Can you pull up a
I think
picture
it's
of the desk,
honorable
please?
that you want to use something that's less addictive and can still help with the pain. So I admire your switching to it.
I'm a hero, honestly. And for some reason, Little Debbie's cosmic brownies have no effect on you. But that reminds me of the Parks and Rec where Leslie Knope is like, you know, once I had a brownie and like it was like I was floating and like it's like around me and whatever, and then later on she's like, there were no drugs in the brownie. It was just a really good brownie.
Placebo effect.
I was addicted to pain pills after my motorcycle accident. Luckily, I got myself off of them fairly easily. I still love them, unfortunately. Yeah, I was really, really paranoid about getting addicted, and so I was really careful with that, fortunately, because it would have been really bad if I hadn't been that careful. Snoop and Danny,
I really hate that we're in such an epidemic that way, because it really makes it difficult for people who have genuine need for pain medication and pain management, first of all, to get it. Secondly, it's awful that so many people do get addicted to it and then end up, oftentimes, unfortunately, overdosing. Get Narcan, go out, you can get it at any pharmacy. Everybody should have Narcan and know how to use it. It's a nasal spray. It's an opiate reversal drug. You can easily watch a video and learn how to use it. It's as easy as spraying a nasal spray in someone's nose when they're overdosing. So I would like to at least recommend, if people have an interest in doing that, it can save a life if you see somebody overdosing.
Yeah, I've heard, like, I've seen people overdose and it's very scary. Like, yeah, I once overdosed on something as well, and that was pretty scary. But like, so anything that can help with that, like, kind of like the goal of MK Ultra was to kind of find like a cure for LSD. Looking for white paint. Let's see. Snoop Dogg concerned about Danny. If Snoop hasn't died yet from weed, he definitely won't be worried about Danny. Oh, no, I would not be totally shocked if we smoked about the same amount of weed. Perfect, thank you.
I do watch you sometimes when you're taking your hits, and it's like, oh, she's a pretty good smoker.
Thank you. Thank you. I try so hard. It's nice to be acknowledged.
Speaking of which,
it's literally only been a couple years of smoking. But it's a lot of smoking, so. I'm not glamorizing drugs, kids, but if weed is gonna help you live your life, then don't let anyone, like, try to shame you for it, like people have done to me.
Thank you, Knitfast. That's thank you so much.
Oh, all right, man.
Here we go.
Oh man.
Oh gosh. Full Gollum mode.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I missed the tail. Her tail was just going. Wait for it. There. Look at her tail. You are so weird. I love you so much. Okay. Let's see. Can the naloxone or whatever you call it wean you off if you're addicted, or is it just? I think it's just for emergency situations.
There's a medication called Subutex or Suboxone that helps you wean off. It is part of an ingredient in Suboxone, naloxone, and Subutex together. So there are two different kinds, but it is one of the ingredients in it.
I do that all the time at Fast Eyeworm. That's usually my main reaction to seeing Smeagol. The next thing. When I was working at a gas station, we had someone overdose in our bathroom, but it didn't fully kick in until he was in the store. I could smell the Narcan from the cash register. Oof, that's scary. I hope he was okay.
Generally speaking, if there's Narcan involved, probably fine. At least from that particular instance.
Yeah, it's very fast acting. If it's gonna work, it's working right away, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it can like. Also, if someone's not overdosing, do not give it to them, especially if they are on opiates, because you're about to have a very angry addict.
You will put them in immediate withdrawal. So unless they're actually like about to stop breathing or die on you, you don't give it to them.
Yeah. Cop was an asshole. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, those are synonyms, Paige.
So yeah. So okay, I'm going to talk about what's that thing called again?
Polybius.
Thank you, Polybius. Thank you. We're gonna talk about Polybius for a little bit.
How is that associated anyway?
Because it has to do with MK Ultra.
Does it really?
Yes. It's part of MK Ultra.
That's.
Oh, hey, Willie Gus, lovely to see you. You miss nursing. You're so knowledgeable and very caring. I don't know who you're talking about, but I agree. Yeah, I figure, Andrew, but let's see. Okay, so MK Ultra, even though it is in the like conspiracy theory category, it's not a theory. It's a conspiracy fact. It happened. Like, this is not people like stoners sitting around speculating about what the government may or may not have done. Like, it happened, right?
Yeah.
But there's this other part that is a conspiracy theory, and we don't know if it happened or not.
It didn't happen.
Brian doesn't think it happened.
I'm certain it didn't happen.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like I was watching a little documentary on it, and people were comparing it to like, when's the first time that you heard about like the boyfriend and girlfriend sitting in a car, and then there's a scratching on the door, and like the boyfriend goes to check it out, and then like there's a hook on the door, like that whole, like, when did you first hear that? Like, it's kind of in that category.
Yeah.
But so the legend is that there's this bar/arcade/restaurant in Portland. Rude Ricky is familiar with it. And one day these dudes in like men in black dudes, like in suits, just show up and install a game. Like, they just install a game there and then leave, right? And so kids start playing this game called Polybius, which apparently, like, the name itself is really interesting, like, for like coding and linguistic nerds, because like Polybius is a philosopher who actually existed.
A Greek historian.
Not philosopher, historian. Okay, he was someone who actually existed, but his name is also like a pun of like all the games or something like that. I can't remember. It's like there's some sort of reference to game playing in the name itself, and I'm blanking on what it was. I only heard about this a couple hours ago, so I did really like rushed research because I was like, this is cool.
I read something about the name was used in a Polybius square. I don't know if that's some type of mathematical.
I'm not a math.
Yeah, it could be something to do with math.
I can say that like that sort of thing, like these sorts of urban legends do usually end up being referenced by nerds in the names of things that they create. So, like, it would not at all surprise me to know that someone decided, oh, yeah, Polybius, I'm going to reference this urban legend in my mathematical proof.
Yeah, it pops up all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's in pop culture, like, Easter eggs. Like, someone photoshopped it into Wreck-It Ralph. It's in a Simpsons episode, like, in the background, and, like, apparently it's just, like, an arcade game with, like, one button, and then, like, there's small print that says property of the U.S. government.
It's actually in Loki.
Yes, that's right. You mentioned that. Yes.
We were actually watching Loki, and I actually paused the episode immediately when it came on screen and pointed it out And it was like I was geeking out a little bit over it because it's such a famous urban legend to people in the know that I was just like, holy shit, this is the best fucking place to put it, because it was in going to try to avoid giving any spoilers that are specific. It's in an area of the universe where things that are no longer supposed to exist go.
Oh, okay, yeah, I do remember that. That's funny.
So yeah, the fact that that's where they see it is just the absolute perfect way to reference Polybius in Loki.
Yeah,
That's
that's very on brand for The Simpsons for sure.
Oh, this was Loki.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about
Yeah.
The Simpsons.
So the Simpsons are the ones who have the property of the U.S. It's like a background joke. Like Bart walks by it in an arcade or something.
Yeah.
Whereas in
remember
Loki,
that.
I guess it's also kind of a background joke. But, I kind of want to know if it's the, hold on, can you
What do you need?
just scroll up in chat? I just want to, see what, a little more. Minx is perfect. That's true. She's the most adorable dog in the world. Also true. I'm glad he got caught, Paige. That's good. I also want to go to the Jazz Bar raffle. It sounds rad, and there's still an arcade there. So, I have a YouTube video on this video game. Yeah, go ahead and share it, please.
I
Discord.
think I
Awesome.
watched what was supposed to look like the gameplay of it, and it seemed like you just hit one button, literally. There was no like movement. There was a little spaceship like in Asteroids, but you don't move the ship and you don't aim. You just fire straight at this thing over and over and over. It was really strange.
I think that there was like some sort of math having to do with it, but okay. So anyway, so the game. So kids started like lining up to play the game, and like would get like obsessed with it, right? And just playing constantly. And then there started being like these weird side effects, things like kids started having seizures while playing it, or like big headaches, or they'd go home and they'd have night terrors. And a lot of kids just stopped wanting to play video games at all. Oh, Nefmar, The Simpsons is very much an oracle. Please Google The Simpsons predicting the future. It's alarming, honestly.
Although in this case, The Simpsons was just a 2006 reference back to something that is supposed to have happened in 1981. So it's happened, like, it's a reference 25 years past.
But they also
events.
do predict the future.
But they do also predict the future. Although watch out, because a lot of those future predictions are actually just like not actually predictions, but like photoshops.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of Photoshop fake predictions that Simpsons never made, but also a lot of actual predictions the Simpsons made. So yeah, it's a mix. A video game that can cure video game addiction sounds a lot like Raid Shadow Legends. So it's like, no one really knows exactly what the gameplay was like because it's gone, or it didn't exist, or whatever.
It would be interesting to find.
It's like I'm just like over here
old enough to have played it and remembers what it looked like.
Because it was only in like the early '80s. It wasn't that long ago. In theory.
I mean, Rude Ricky asked some people around Portland if they ever played it.
Can you go back to the desk, please? Yeah. So, I looked at a thing that was kind of like, this is from descriptions that we've heard, this is about what we can estimate it is, or it was. And it's a lot of flashing strobe light, and then there's like a spaceship. Is the mic picking that up?
I hear it.
It may be picking it up, yeah.
Does she need to help the sirens?
No, that's only for the ones, like the long ones. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Is that about right?
Yes, thank you. What was I saying? Oh, so the like main, so there's different like levels that all look super different, and the main level is like a starship, and it's like the opposite of Space Invaders, where like, or not the it's like, it's like a 3D axis, and then there's all the things like around it, and you're spinning around and you're trying to pachoo, and they're all like math symbols and stuff, and there's lots of like strobing, and like you can see very easily like the person who designed it is very much like, see, here's where all the subliminal messaging can go.
Or at least the person who made up that description.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
This is not actually from the game because the game doesn't exist anywhere.
Right.
So this is someone who designed according to what we have heard the game is like.
Yep.
And yeah. Big fan.
There was some type of code that you had to enter at first to be able to even get in to play the game, I think. I remember seeing something
there.
Like
it
that.
was like it there. So it was like the copyright screen, right, where it's just got like that little like copyright, like the 1980s 8-pixel thing, and then there's just like a random thing of numbers, and supposedly you could enter those numbers and unlock like secret levels or something.
Except the interesting thing is the game like only had one button. Like that's the like there's conflicts in the descriptions.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It almost made me wonder if they used like an early version of a multi-directional like D-pad, and it had an up, down, left, right function and center cursor, and maybe some people had figured that out or something, because I saw in the gameplay it almost looked like they were scrolling through to get to numbers in that code.
Alien Sock Puppy,
section.
The Last Starfighter was based on this. Like The Last Starfighter got the idea from this game's maybe existence. But yeah, like so the code was gonna but yeah, what was I gonna say? I don't remember. Sorry, I interrupted you. Please keep saying what you were saying.
No, I was finished. It's fine.
But yeah, so it was just like apparently these dudes in suits would just show up randomly and like unscrew the back of the game and take out like
memory chip or something like that.
Like the precursor to like a memory, like it was like, but it was like a foot and a half, like it was a giant thing. And no one knew if they were like recoding it or updating it or taking out the information. Like they didn't know what they were doing when they would come over and like, open up the back. And then they would just leave. And so yeah, it became like this huge deal. One of my favorite things that made me laugh while looking this up was that like Portland was seen as like the perfect middle of America example because like politics wise it's both liberals and conservatives and all this, and it's like no, you just mean they're all white. You just mean you can go to Portland and you're gonna find a bunch of white people, and that's what that means. Like, yeah. If you didn't know, it was illegal to not be white in Oregon for a long time. Last Dragon, Last Samurai. Oh my gosh, shut up.
They also don't have sales tax, oddly enough.
I loved that when I visited. I don't want sales tax.
When you buy something there, it's actually the price on the sticker. No tax.
My ex is from Oregon, and when we went to visit his family, I was just blown away by that. Like, wait, that's the price that's on the sticker. Why are what? Yeah, it was confusing the first time. But yeah, so it became this like controversial topic because like kids would be fighting about it, and then like also some kids were showing signs of like mental health distress. Okay, supposedly one kid killed himself, but again, this is an urban legend. And yeah, and like it's really funny because like you can pick out like where things were embellished by kids. Like one of the stories is that the Men in Black came to collect the game one day unexpectedly. Like it just disappeared, like they took it, but as they were wheeling it away, like they unplugged it and then they're wheeling it away, but it was still on.
You don't have to pay tax in the UK, Andrew?
They do have to pay tax. It's just that it's always on the sticker too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that way when you look at the price of something, that's how much you actually pay. Because they just like, wait, why don't we just put the tax on here too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do-
Mhm.
I know the video I posted, there were people who remembered the game, but I don't know if there's been an update. It was really, like, I'm definitely going to be doing more research before Thursday about this, because, like, I literally found out about this just a couple hours ago. And so I was just, like, I read really fast, fortunately. So I was doing a lot of research, while I could.
I was
But
really
there are definitely
impressed
more
by the
details.
level that you dug into this, I'll just say.
Thank you. Yeah, like, it's just one of those things where, like, every place I went to research had, like, they were all so different and all, like, had such different approaches to it on how much they believed it was real or not.
Right.
The information, like, it was just, yeah. I was like, man, if I
Like,
had
one of the
longer.
more outlandish accounts is by a woman named Kathy O'Brien, and she wrote a book called, I want to say it's called Trance Nation, but it's spelled Trance Nation.
Okay.
And it's all about her claims of being an MK Ultra victim and being programmed as a sex slave to serve congressmen and governors and vice presidents and presidents. So it's
Hey, Chris. Nice to see
that's
you.
one that gets lumped into the conspiracy category a lot, but there may be some truth to what she says.
Yeah, so one of the things that I came across in this that I thought was interesting was someone put forward the theory that, like, MK Ultra was trying to find different ways of mind control and different ways of delivering mind control. And so, like, the drugs were for the older people, like the hippies and everything, whereas, like, they were like, okay, now how do we get to the kids? And that was like, oh, we do video games.
Because as we all know, kids never do drugs.
Nope. It's illegal. Of course they don't. Then there was also what happened in San Francisco, which I found mildly terrifying. Do you want to talk about that? Like the experiment that they did in San Francisco?
On the at the brothel you're talking about?
No. So apparently they decided that the bad guys have access to, like, poisoning an entire city in the air.
Okay.
Right? And so they're like, well, how would the bad guys do that if they were gonna do that? I wonder. And so they started figuring out how to do that, because that's what the bad guys are doing.
Right.
And so basically they wound up gassing the entirety of San Francisco. They were like, okay, if we were bad guys and we wanted to attack San Francisco, where would we put this? Like, how would we distribute the gas? How would all this? And, like, it literally, like, if they had wanted to, everyone in San Francisco and then some would have died. Like, people were hospitalized even though they weren't using poison. I don't remember what they actually used, but, like, people were hospitalized.
Yeah, we're just wondering what they sprayed. If it was a nerve agent or I don't know.
Like, it was something, because they weren't sure how successful they would be, so they were like, okay, we're gonna use something that if we are successful, it won't kill everyone, but if we aren't, we'll be able to know for sure that it wasn't successful because there's nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Congress people. Oh yeah. Pokemon
here
would
we
be
go.
a pretty
It
effective
was,
mind control device. Yeah.
It was a 1950 U.S. Navy secret biological warfare experiment over San Francisco in the Bay Area in California. They used Bacillus globuli and Serratia marcianus. It's a bacteria that they sprayed over. And they said 43 locations around the city. They received a dose for nearly all of the city's 800,000 residents to inhale at least 5,000 of the particles. People became ill.
So wait, so what was the actual thing that like affected them? That hurt them?
It was called Bacillus globigi. It's
That's definitely
just
it.
the Latin name for two different bacterial agents in a bioweapon. And they sprayed it in October of 1950. Several people checked into Stanford Hospital for infections, pneumonia. They said the bacterium was also combined with phenol and anthrax stimulant and sprayed across Dorset, US and UK military scientists as part of the DICE trials that ran from 71 to 75.
Our government is rad.
Yeah. I mean, how they even propose that to somebody. We're going to get an entire city full of people horribly ill just to see what happens.
Well, like the premise of like, well, the bad guys are doing it. Like,
I guess they
first
could
off,
justify
they're not.
it with readiness.
Oh, now they are because we're the bad guys.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. They sprayed Febreze. Suddenly, San Francisco smelled good. We know that can't happen. I love San Francisco. I miss San Francisco. San Francisco is one of the best parts about California. It's only San Francisco. How dare you, Paige? But what was the next thing? I had something to say next. Oh my gosh, my brain is just whatever today. Eddie Izzard. Alcatraz. Oh my gosh. If you've never seen Dressed to Kill from Eddie Izzard, you need to see it. It's one of the best stand-up comedy routines I've ever seen in my life. And what, it's like 20 years old now, and it is still just as funny.
He's used to be alongside Margaret Cho. They both did HBO comedy specials around the same time. We were just talking about that the other day. Margaret Cho is a really great too.
She's fun. I enjoy her. Yeah. By the way, Eddie Izzard goes by she now. She, her.
Oh, cool.
FYI. A lot of people are not aware of that. I was not aware of that for a little while.
I remember she used to wear
they
heels and a bit of makeup on the comedy specials.
Yes, but I mean, like, that doesn't mean anything about pronouns and sexuality, you know? That's just wearing what the fuck you want to wear.
Even more so ahead of its time, I think, because when you think 20 years ago, you did not see a lot of that on television at all.
It was a big statement at the time, yes.
Right, definitely.
Okay. So. Why can't I remember any? And no, it's not the weed. I mean, the weed doesn't help, but it's not the weed. It's just my brain. Hey, cutie.
Oh, one thing that was interesting that I learned was Frank Olson's son decided to go kind of on a tour talking to the people who were involved in his father's death at the hotel, trying to find more insider information into it. And several years later, he tracked down Sidney Gottlieb, the man who ran the MK Ultra program. He was the director of it. And when he got to his doorstep, he was greeted by Gottlieb, opened the door and said, "I had a dream last night that you came to my house to shoot me, so I'm glad to see that you don't have a gun in your hand." I mean, he fully expected, I guess, that his son was coming to avenge his father's death and blamed him somehow for
Yeah.
his death, which in a way, he was pretty much directly responsible for his father's death.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, Brian just said that could have also just been a dream that he had every single week for all we know.
Yeah. I mean, he
So
seemed to have a lot of guilt later on in life. He said that he used to be a different person then, and it's not the same person he was now. I remember reading that he became a vegetarian and
take
started
the
trying to
headphone off.
trying to lead an ecological lifestyle and be one with Earth or nature, and said that the things he did were horrible. He was the only one that was remorseful or regretful about what he had done in the past.
Yeah, that's always like with stuff like this. It's like finding out how little so many people care is like
Disheartening.
when no one comes forward to apologize or when only one person does.
Right.
A bummer.
Yeah, that was one crazy thing, was that the Olson family was the only person ever to get an apology from the US government for something that the government did to a civilian.
Yeah.
I mean, in all of history. And
so
they, I believe, offered him $1 million of settlement money too.
Yeah, I think they wound up getting like 750K or something like that. So yeah.
Less than what they originally offered.
But what wound up happening with the Olsons, so when they found out that their husband, father, was dead, they never got to see the body. Like the government said, like, oh, he's so damaged from the fall, like it has to be a closed casket. Like you don't want to see him like that, you know? And it wasn't until decades later when all of the MK Ultra stuff was coming out that the family was like, hey, wait a minute. What the fuck? And so they exhumed the body and did a new
the story
autopsy.
that they came about doing that by, he just happened to have a family friend who was a doctor. I believe he was either a medical examiner or an autopsyist. He had started just doing historical criminal investigations and exhuming bodies. I mean, what are the odds that
I want
this
that
man
job.
would be family friends with a guy who decided to start doing that? And then he asked him if he would be able to do it, and he ended up helping him do that. So
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
Does one fall into that career? But yeah, so they exhumed him. They did another autopsy, and in this actual autopsy, found out that so this is something that like the CIA did, maybe probably still does, like because it was found in paperwork later. But
the manual for assassination, is that what you're talking about?
Yes. If you hit someone on the head to kill them and then shove them out a window, the damage from falling out the window will be so bad that no one will be able to tell that you killed them by hitting them on the head.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And it can be called an accident or suicide.
Exactly, yeah. And so like it had been a big question mark from the beginning because like the way that the glass broke didn't make any sense, and like none of the things at the crime scene made sense to people. And so that's why they said like he either fell or jumped. And like the only way that he could have done it is if he took a running jump through the glass, because like there was damage to his face from the glass and stuff. And then when they were doing the autopsy,
the autopsy, I believe, found that there were no facial lacerations. So it almost made it look as if someone hit him over the head, maybe with the same object that they hit him with, bashed the window out. I also remember reading a report of someone who they interviewed that was outside of the hotel building, reported seeing glass break and fall, and then moments later, a body come after. So it wasn't a body and glass falling. It was just broken glass first and then a body.
Yeah. That makes sense. I know that in that second autopsy, or maybe first autopsy, who knows, they did find like the head injury that didn't match the fall injuries. And so they saw that like there had been, I don't know if it would have been fatal, but it at least would have like knocked him out,
Right,
hitting
or
him on the head
stunned
like
him
that.
to the point where they could have got him out the
Yeah.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in order for him to have fallen the way he did, they said he would have had to make a running dive through, and it was not just one pane of glass, it was 2 panes of glass with the sash in between. So
Oh
he
wow,
would
I
have
didn't
had
know
to
that.
have aimed for the bottom half of the window and dove through it head first at a running pace. So it's just highly unlikely that that's the scenario that really happened.
Yeah. Ugh. I hate like unsolved
Also,
mysteries. I never
Sidney
like
Gottlieb
intentionally look up
told the
unsolved mysteries.
investigators that he was in Washington at the time, but other people say that he was there at the hotel during the time that Olson was staying at the hotel in New York.
Yeah, so the hotel, I looked it up right before we started.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Manhattan in Midtown, and it's like the second or third biggest hotel in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And it closed right after COVID happened and is currently in the process of being demolished. Like they started mid-January demolishing it. So they'd had like an estate sale, which would have been super cool. You could have been like, which one of these is from the murder room?
Yeah, I believe it was 1078 was the room number. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe it was 1078. I know it was on the 10th floor for sure.
Yes, because they talk so much about like
10,
how, yeah.
10 floors fall, yeah, 10-story fall.
Smeagol keeps speaking out like, why are you guys lying? We know the government killed him.
Where did you happen to find the information on the manual for assassination? Do you remember where you located that?
I might be able to remember. Ask me again later, and I'll see if I can find it.
I was trying to find a copy
There were a
of that.
lot.
I know it exists somewhere, but it's very
I
fascinating.
definitely didn't find like a copy. It was someone else who was familiar with it. Like, so it was secondhand for me. But forensics is making it harder to be diabolical nowadays. It's true. Like, and it's so frustrating. Like, as a historian who enjoys true crime, not enjoys true crime, you know what I mean. Like things like Jack the Ripper, like that's never going to be solved. There's no way it can be solved. Oh, thank you for gifting a sub to Nefmar. Rude Ricky, you are wonderful and super appreciated. And double welcome, Nefmar. So, what was I saying? That went away.
We need Axiom here to keep you on track.
Wait. Rude Ricky, what was I saying? So you mean he would have had to land on his head like when I wake up and my neck hurts and it literally feels like I was sleeping on top of my head, even though I can't do a handstand.
I believe he landed face down on his stomach. They said that the night manager of the hotel, got out to him and he was mumbling something, but he said it was unintelligible and he died in the process of trying to tell him whatever he was telling him.
That happened with Selena too.
Yeah.
Sad.
There was another strange example of someone having a fall or an accident out of a high-story window, and that was Secretary James Forestall under the Truman administration. He was the Secretary of State, I believe. He was sent to Bethesda Naval Hospital in D.C. to their psych ward, and it was apparently all the way up on, I forget what floor, but it was over 10 floors, I believe. And he somehow falls out this window too.
Oh, wait, the same window?
No, it's
you said DC.
Bethesda Naval in DC.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it was just a very
that would have been really funny though if it was the same window.
No, very similar circumstance though, like they were reading the same manual.
Yeah. There's one of the cases at the Cecil in LA, a woman who was defenestrated. Either she jumped or was pushed, or who knows. Most likely jumped. And when she came out the window, when she landed on someone who was walking on the sidewalk below and killed them as well. I know that is like devastating.
Have you ever seen the picture of the woman who jumps off of the Empire State
Beautiful
Building?
Death, I think, something like that. Yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah, it was the Empire State Building.
It seemed like
if anyone hasn't seen it,
far from the building.
Yeah. There's this picture from the 50s, 60s?
Yeah.
Of a woman who jumped off the Empire State Building and landed on a car below, and somehow when she landed like with like her arms and legs like very daintily crossed, and her face is just like serene.
Perfect.
And like
serene.
it does not look like someone who just jumped off of I think it was the tallest building in the world at the time.
I can totally understand why the photographer would have taken such a morbid picture. I mean, even if it was just for the police or the criminal investigation or whatever, I mean, it was a beautiful picture. It made a beautiful picture. I mean, it's stunning to think that death could be beautiful like that, but it was. Very interesting.
Like, you can't, even though it's difficult, you can't shy away from photographing difficult things, because otherwise, it's beautiful suicide. Thank you, Paige. Otherwise, like, people forget that difficult things happen, and there are some difficult things that don't need to be repeated, that are repeated because they're forgotten. And there's also, like, you can find beauty in so many different places, including death. Like, if you walk around a really old cemetery, my God. There's a couple graveyards in downtown.
Like, craftsmanship on some of the headstones and the carvings are amazing to me. That they could do that
there's
back then with the hand tools that they had available.
There's some really old cemeteries old for the United States, in New York City, and like some of them I've just used to just like wander around and decompress and or just sit in. They're very nice and peaceful.
Yeah, very quiet.
I don't think that there was anyone in the car. No, I think it was just her.
No, it was in a parked car that was, she almost like caved the whole roof of it into the passenger area.
It's kind of classic CIA to throw someone out a window and then be like, I don't know, I found him like that. Very low-tech solution. That is true. Yes.
And low cost. Low risk of getting caught.
Yeah. And a lot of the evidence gets destroyed.
Exactly.
She looks like she is sleeping, not just jumping. Yeah, that's why that picture like really stuck with people. Yeah. Andrew Loomis from Dead Moon has one of the coolest headstones I've ever seen. Thank you, Marty. Let me look him up.
What is Dead Moon?
That's a great last name.
The Loomis method is a method for drawing the
Forestall.
skull in art. I just learned that recently.
Oh, cool. It's the crescent moon, but it's a skull with drumsticks as the crossbones, and it looks kind of like it's a drum. That's cool. I don't know how to make a picture on the screen. I would, and Brian went downstairs to breathe deeply and appreciate nature. Yes. But when he gets back, I'll have him put it on screen. Okay, while I'm thinking about it, let me make a couple quick announcements.
Okay.
So, Saturday, we're gonna have a special stream. My friend who did the logo is going to be helping make some new elements for the stream. So he's going to be making some emotes. He's going to be making a new background for the stream itself. And so we're going to be live streaming when we do that. so that I can give him feedback as he does it. And I would love it if you guys would join and,
That's a fun idea.
share your thoughts. I thought it was super fun. Like when I was thinking about like, oh my gosh, people like we could do a poll for stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
It'd
so
be a
if you
very
want to
neat
join,
community building experience.
yeah, that's what I was hoping when I thought of it. So, so that'll be Saturday at 9. We might start a little early, but the plan is 9. And then tomorrow we're probably going to do a gaming stream, probably 9 Eastern. So, yeah. So if you want to join tomorrow, Thursday, Saturday. And then I will also tell you what the theme for next week is. The next week, we are going to be talking about the Perones, the dictators of Argentina. You may know them from Eva Perón is Evita from the musical Evita. And it's a really, really fascinating topic. They are why Nazis got to escape to Argentina. Directly why. Like, they loved what Hitler was doing. They thought he was great. And they were like, yeah, come over here.
Suspect Joseph Mengele might have got away down there.
Oh, he
somewhere.
did. He did. Yeah, he didn't die. He didn't like end up in Argentina, but he lived there for like a long time, and then he found out that they were
doing
almost after
experiments
him.
on twins there after the war?
We're not sure. So basically he went to Argentina, they were tracking him down, and so he then went to Uruguay where he died. And then there's a random village, I believe in Uruguay, where there's just so many twins. Just everyone has twins. And so people are like, was he responsible for that? Because that's suspicious, but there's no confirmation either way.
That's a very
but yeah,
odd
so
story.
yeah. So all of the Nazis in Argentina are because of these two. And then on top of that, I have a personal connection to it. So like these are two fascists, right? Like they were dictators. And my mom is from Argentina. She is from Buenos Aires specifically. And my grandfather was a part of the political party that fought against the Perones, like Antifa OG type thing.
Wow.
And like he had to escape to, I think, Uruguay for a little while as well. Like he hid people who were like on the run. And so, yeah, so it's like this like personal thing for me as well. And the movie is one of my favorite movies ever, even though I know that my grandfather hates that I love that movie, like wherever he is. But yeah, so next week we're going to talk about the Perones, which is a big topic for me. So I'm kind of nervous about it, but it'll be good. So if you don't know anything about them, you want to know about them, believe me. They destroyed a lot. Like a lot. I think the only reason that you wouldn't know who they are is because they happened at the same time as Hitler.
And they made them look like such heroes in the movie.
Yeah, so that's going to be the movie for movie night next week. And I have a lot to say about it. A lot.
I'm sure you do.
I love that movie. I love that movie. My mom took me to see it when it came out. And then like sat me down and was like, okay, let me tell you what the real history is now.
Right. Right.
And like I wound up being totally obsessed with the movie, and I was like this child that would wander around singing songs about like sleeping your way to the top and stuff. Like and yeah, so I know the truth, but I also love the musical. And it horrifies my family that I love it so much. But yeah, so that's gonna be the topic. And yeah, so those are the announcements, I think. So yeah, special stream Saturday, gaming stream tomorrow, and then Perones next week. Right, Smeagol? Right? Thank you. Okay. I'm pretty sure those were all the announcements I had.
Cool. Very good.
But yeah. So I went on that tangent while I was trying to remember what I'd been speaking about, but did I remember what I was speaking about while I was on that tangent? No.
Let's see, we left off with, we were still talking about the Olsons and, what else did we say?
Oh, I need. can you pull up the desk picture? Oh wait, actually, Rude Ricky wanted to show everyone a grave. I have it pulled up on Chrome if you could show it on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm guessing your Catholic school didn't appreciate you singing about sleeping your way to the top. At that time, it was just a private school, not a Catholic school. But I'm sure that any teacher who, I want to say, like, of course I didn't sing it at school, but I sang it at school a lot. I'm guessing that any teacher who heard it and realized what I was singing thought it was hilarious. Like, that's what I would think if I was a teacher and heard a small child singing any of those songs. And be like, you must have very interesting parents, young child. But yeah, it's a really good, like, Andrew Lloyd Webber is really honestly. I know that that's like sacrilege as a theater fan, but got it right with Evita at least. Okay, anyway. So we're talking about the Olson, which I keep thinking Mary-Kate and Ashley.
I know.
You said Olson's body was exhumed, but I don't remember what was after that. Okay, so yeah, so they did another autopsy. And this was with their own coroner instead of the one that the CIA was like, this is the coroner and he's totally cool. And in that autopsy, they found like the drugs in his system, and then they found that he had a head injury that was pre-mortem, or what is it, antemortem? And like basically apparently like that's a tactic of the CIA, is like hit him in the head and then throw him out a window, because the damage from being thrown out a window will cover up the damage that you inflicted to their head. And only someone who's like paying attention will notice that, in theory.
All right, ready to show the
Oh, okay. Here is the grave stone that Rude Ricky was talking about that's in Portland.
says, let me just make sure I can see this correctly. Cherished son, brother, uncle, cousin, and friend. Life is good, except the part that sucked.
I just realized that the lights aren't on.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had the lights all the way on for this whole stream. So he was totally whacked by the CIA. Oh, absolutely. Like, because he'd even supposedly, allegedly said, like, that he didn't like this, wasn't comfortable with it, etc., and, like, wanted to tell the truth, and they were like, no.
I'm sure that their main concern was that he was going to go to a newspaper reporter or something of the like, because they, of course, did not want any of this information coming out whatsoever, because I'm sure they knew internally it was a mess on its own. The American public became aware of it at that time, anyway. I think it would have been received a lot differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl. Yeah, it, like, so the only reason, oh, okay. I thought of two more things to talk about for sure. So when I'm next thinking of what we're talking about, okay, we're going to talk about Operation Midnight Climax, and we're going to talk about fuck, it went away already. Oh my god, my brain. Okay, so let's talk about Midnight Climax. Midnight Climax was you know what that is, right?
Yes.
Matt? Yeah. Okay. I was like, you have to know what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So Midnight Climax was the super subtle code name for an operation where they were basically having sex workers bring their clients into hotel rooms, where they would then put those clients on drugs and then watch from a two-way mirror, from behind a two-way mirror, what happened. And like,
it was all filmed with 8mm camera.
Yeah. My god, it's just, it's,
can you imagine,
and like,
the blackmail potential for doing something like that to a senator or a governor or
apparently they actually did get a lot of blackmail material from it, like a lot.
It's almost like the early beginnings of a Jeffrey Epstein type plot.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the thing is, like, there was no sort of actual like accountability or even like supervision on this project. Like, these CIA agents were able to do whatever the fuck they wanted to do.
Sidney
There
Gottlieb
was
did not need anything but approval for money. That's all he ever
Yeah.
asked for, and was given plenty of money for it.
Yeah.
He did anything he wanted. Nothing was too horrible. Nothing was against the law. Nothing was unethical in his opinion.
Which, what a way to live.
Right.
What a way to live. So there's like one guy who, what he would do all day, every day, is he would hang out beside, on the other side of the two-way mirror, and he would...
I mean the one-way mirror.
One-way mirror, yeah. One-way mirror and...
Wait, is that right?
No, two-way mirror.
Why is it called a two-way mirror? You can only see through it one way.
You can see yourself through one side of the mirror, but the other side you can see through. So I guess that's what they mean by two ways. You can see in one way, but you can't see through it the other way.
It sounds like a one-way window to me.
I don't know.
I'm sure
Either
it's
way.
a
weird name.
Considered either. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, I'm critiquing the decision to call it a two-way mirror and saying it should be called a one-way window. Also, can I see your phone?
How George Carlin talks about near miss in an airplane. It's really a near hit, not a near miss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although actually what that means is, because I used to work in aviation tracking, what that means is it was a miss, but it was a very close miss.
Right.
Not nearly a miss, but a miss that was near.
Right.
Oh, a near miss, not a... Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what that actually means.
Interesting. There was this one dude who, like, all day, every day, his job, well, the job that he decided was his job, was to hang out on the other side of the mirror, taking notes while sitting on a portable toilet. All day, every day. That was his thing.
To build the room for the cameras in the bathroom of one of the other hotel rooms, right?
Sorry, say that one more time.
I think they had to build the two-way mirror in one of the bathrooms of the other hotel room that connected to it. So that's why he was sitting on a toilet, because that's where the camera was put. And I think they replaced the door of the bathroom with the mirror and maybe some drywall at the bottom or something. But
it's wild. Yeah, because we can't let the bad guys win.
Right.
So, okay, this is a total side tangent that just I learned while doing a refresher on Mangala. So one of the things that he oversaw was and this is going to be a weird thing that you're going to hear, these words together. Just like prepare. He oversaw the Auschwitz brothel, which was where prisoners, non-Jewish prisoners, were forced into sex work. And in return, they would get like better living situation, more rations, like they would have privileges.
Longer before they went to the death chamber?
Yes. But they actually, I think they lived longer. Like they weren't one of those ones where like every 6 months we're killing everyone.
Right. But I mean, like they still got to live longer, but that was obviously one of the benefits.
Well, so the thing was that the whole idea behind having the two-way mirror, one-way mirror. What? Sorry, no, I'm mixing things up.
I've ruined things forever.
The whole thing of having the brothel was actually to psychologically torture the concentration camp inmates, because what they had this brothel set up for was as a reward for the non-Jewish prisoners. Like if they showed that they worked really hard and stuff, like they would be given a reward where they could go to the brothel for some special time. The thing is, like, all of these people are exhausted and starved, and they just like worked for however long, and they are allowed 15 minutes per, like, each woman and I mean man, because They only get 15 minutes each, and there's a spy hole in the door, and there's a officer looking through it, making sure that you don't do anything but missionary. So all that it was another way of torturing inmates. Like, it wasn't an actual, like, we want to give them rewards. No, it was a way of fucking with their heads.
Yeah, psychological.
Shut up, Ruffle. Yeah, just remember, never decided to change in a police interrogation room. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's literally what the mirror is there for. To spy. All hotel bathrooms have two-way mirrors. That's what I'm always worried about.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Ooh,
14 minutes longer
technopoly.
than you need.
I like that
I
word.
think there's a way you can check. Like, if you shine a light right up to the surface of it, you should be able to see through to the other side. I think I remember
If you
reading
put
that somewhere.
if you put your fingernail against it, like, the nails will contact each other if you can see from the other side. If there's a
Not
gap,
always.
not always, but that's the best indicator that you can have immediately, is to put your fingernail up, and if the two fingernails contact, then it's a creepy mirror. But if there's like a little gap, you're good.
What the reason for that is that
Danny thinks anything other than missionary is torture. Yes, that was what I was getting at with the whole story. I was like, okay, how can I let everyone know how I feel about this?
the actual way that a two-way mirror works is they use a substance that will preferentially let light through, like half of the light through, and then everyone on the other side of the mirror just is sitting in the dark. Like, that's all it is. It's like a semi-transparent mirror, and the other side, they're just sitting in the dark.
Yeah.
So you can construct a mirror like that actually has glass on both sides of that semi-transparent layer.
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of times they didn't until everyone found out, oh, they can tell that it's a two-way mirror or one-way window, if you prefer, like I do. By doing that, they went, okay, we'll just put another plane of glass on there. Like, like, I guarantee you, like, a lot of the two-way mirrors now don't have that flaw.
Right, you wouldn't be able to tell, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Operation Midnight Climax. And what was the point of that? Literally nothing. They didn't even have like a pretend goal to present. It was literally just, we want to watch what happens.
I'm assuming though that it was their intention to possibly use it to blackmail or political opponents or people who came up against people who were funding them basically in a political election. But they probably, who knows if they used it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, because
dosing somebody with LSD and then getting them into a brothel would probably be a pretty easy way to incriminate someone. And still, I mean, who knows how aware they are of what's going on. So
yeah, and it's like
just
we want to know what happens when
could be enough.
Yeah, and like that's honestly like the entire experiment in general, not just this one aspect of it. Like, all of it was run like with the supervision of like a 12-year-old. Like, that's what it feels like. There was no sort of supervision, no sort of accountability.
How bad can bad actually get? That kind of thing.
Was the shock experiment, was that part of MK Ultra, or was that something different?
Yes. What you're thinking of is, they called it driving, psychic driving. They would basically use ECT repeatedly at high doses to erase the mind, and then they would put them in a coma with drugs, put earphones on their ears, and replay whatever message they wanted to replay, and it was supposed to psychically drive them. That's how they installed keywords and triggers and got to the compartmented part of the mind that they had created with the trauma.
A lot of that was the like, they were trying to recreate schizophrenia, right? Like, wasn't that part of that? Like, they want, like, okay, how can we?
They basically came to the conclusion that they would never be able to make somebody be able to go assassinate someone, say, and then forget about it, unless they started with a blank slate. They needed to erase any conceptions that person had to begin with. So you're basically talking about erasing memory and erasing even personal identity at times, and starting
Yeah.
completely from scratch, building a new person. It's sick that they did this stuff, but it actually is documented that they did it to people.
Yeah. So
many people, and they were often prisoners or people who were already in psychiatric institutions to begin with.
Oh yeah, because they only used vulnerable people, sex workers,
Right.
prisoners, anyone in an asylum, like students, like, yeah, anyone who didn't have any sort of power was someone that they could use, basically. So that one is definitely one that I definitely wanted to talk about, but I was also talking about the one where like you would go into a room and there would be a little machine and there's someone on like the other side of a wall who's answering questions, and when they get a question wrong, you're supposed to shock them. And like each time the shock goes higher. That's MK Ultra, right? That's a mind fuck though, not a drug fuck.
I think that's more what do they call that? Behavioral cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, so that had nothing to do with MK Ultra.
They may have used certain principles from it, but I don't believe that experiment specifically was part of MK Ultra. No.
Okay. For anyone who's not familiar with that experiment, basically, they would have you up the shock every time that someone that you couldn't see, you could just hear them, got a question wrong in another room, and so it would go higher and higher, and they were in more and more pain, and they would keep telling you push the button, and like it was to see how many people would keep pushing the button even though they knew that it was causing someone pain.
I mean, honestly,
Milgram experiment. Yeah, but I know about it. I just didn't know if it was MK associated.
That is like, I mean, child.
Yeah, because that one has nothing to do with drugs. It's just psychological
it's not
manipulation.
Scary enough for them.
Right.
Yeah.
The I mean, I wasn't sure if you knew the name of it.
I was blanking on the name. Yeah.
I remembered that it was not the Stanford prison experiment, but I knew is like if I type in Milford and prison, there's going to be enough people that have confused the two for Google to find me the right answer.
That's fair. Okay. Honestly suspect it's just some pervy dudes kink and getting work to pay for. Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of MK Ultra was pervy dudes getting paid for their kinks. Like anyone with like power in MK Ultra, like if they had a kink, they could just like figure out a way to be like, hey, let's do this. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a concentration camp doctor. Like they don't see the people there as humans.
Many parallels drawn between Sidney Gottlieb and Mengele. They said he was basically the American Mengele.
I can see that, yeah. Disabled children, yeah. I don't know that disabled children didn't have anything to do with MK Ultra, but they were really big in the Holocaust.
Actually, he did have a penchant for looking for people with disabilities or deformities specifically. He was interested in the genetic aspects of how to prevent them from happening.
For MK Ultra?
Yes.
Or Mengele?
Mengele was doing that for Germany, for the part of the eugenics.
Yeah, they wanted to figure out how to like cure disabilities or something, or just exterminate them.
Right.
Or also just figure out what causes them, etc., and prevent them.
Keep the impurities
which
out.
Is
right.
Like they weren't.
Is there a way they could correct it before it even happened or was born?
Right. Like they wanted to get rid of all the disabilities, and in their minds, it didn't really matter if you exterminated them or prevented it from happening. The end result was the same.
Right.
But they also needed a lot more soldiers. So if you could prevent it, that meant you got more soldiers. So it was just about trying to make sure they had more soldiers.
I
Uh,
remember seeing that movie Valkyrie. I believe that I don't know if it's historically accurate to the point, but there was one of the officers who had a child who looked to be possibly Down syndrome or something like that. And he was hiding the fact from the other Nazis. And I remember part of the plot being that he needed to send the child away to be looked after somewhere so that the Nazis wouldn't have her exterminated, basically, and punish him for not telling them about it.
what an
So,
awesome timeline. Um, I didn't know that they'd repeated it in Poland and Ukraine. That's scary. Stanford prison experiment. I didn't hear about it being fake, but for me,
Well, not fake per se, but like it was designed poorly.
yes. So the Stanford prison experiment, as well as Lord of the Flies, are not about the human psyche. They are about the psyche of rich, privileged white males.
Not actually the Stanford prison. The flaws in that one had more to do with like them actively like encouraging people and like seeding them specifically to be cruel. Like they put these people in these two roles and then told the guards to be cruel. Like that was their job as part of the experiment, was to do that. So like it was not a thing where if you put people in a guard and prisoner scenario, that they will be cruel to, like the guards will be cruel to the. You got some paint on your blanket, by the way, on the blanket.
Oh, that's why it's there.
Okay. But yeah, it was basically like if you, it wasn't evidence that. Let's see here. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Well, it's faked implies that he was fully aware of the fact that his influences would directly cause the exact outcome that he was expecting.
Or that like he hired actors.
Well, I mean, it could be faked if he just like knew for a fact ahead of time that he could get the outcome that he wanted by doing a certain thing. It was more like he thought it could happen, and so he trained people to do a thing, thinking that that would be evidence that it was possible for that to happen on its own, because it was possible for it to happen when it was intentionally caused, but that's not the way that works. Like, faked implies that he thought it was a bad experiment and he was intentionally creating a flawed experiment.
right.
Did he say the whole
He has
thing?
admitted that, and the guards and prisoners have confirmed it later. Oh, so like he did?
He
hire
actually knew
actors?
that he was just making up and like knew that it was a flawed experiment from the get-go. Okay.
Ooh,
That part I wasn't aware of.
okay. Like
Um,
even Mangala didn't know that his stuff was flawed. He thought he was doing great. Like
Yeah.
if you know your stuff is flawed, why are you doing it? That's just bullshit and a waste of everyone's time.
Political reasons. Probably wanted to prove that something about society that he believed. So he constructed a fake experiment in order to show what he believed to be true, which is like not how you do science at all. Like
Right.
one of the things, like we can look around right now and just see for a fact that guards are treating prisoners very, very, very fucking poorly, and go, oh, okay, this is a problem. But what he did was he tried to construct a thing and say like it's because of the relationship between them that this happens, and therefore all guards will always treat prisoners poorly.
Right.
But that's not how that works. Like you have
Right.
to actually figure out what the actual cause is, and he didn't care about the actual cause. He just wanted to prove that it was the relationship that was the inherent impetus. But we don't know that that's true now because he designed a flawed experiment.
Hi Holly, welcome.
To be clear,
Lovely to see you and your beautiful face, your beautiful new face.
like everything that he thought his experiment was going to demonstrate could actually be true for all we know, but his experiment is totally useless to demonstrate anything because of the flaws.
Yeah, for real.
Is this the same as plot with Men Who Talk to Goats? Yeah, I think it's at least loosely based.
The Men Who Talk to
I've never
Goats
seen
is
that.
somewhat more about remote viewing and that type of
Right.
research that was done by, I believe, Stanford did a big part of that research.
Well, we know we can't trust Stanford.
You have a hydrate and a stretch.
Oh, that's a good idea. I've never seen Men Who Talk to Goats.
You know, neither have I.
It's a funny movie, and it's like kind of lighthearted, but it's got some factual information in it, unbelievably.
Okay, everything's fine. We're good. It's like, hi, Exy Mom. I know you've been here the whole time, but I don't think I said hi to you. Psychological research is quite possibly the most flawed field of research. Yeah, because it's all like, it's so
Best guesses.
varied and I don't want to say arbitrary, but like almost like, you know,
Subjective.
Subjective. There we go. Thank you.
Definitely just don't know enough about the human brain yet to understand exactly how it makes us tick.
I think in order to find out, we should just try all the drugs.
That'll
work, right?
I'm pretty sure that's the plot to MK Ultra. Wait, plot? Plan?
Interesting.
But to be clear, when I was mentioning that the Stanford experiment does not show it, therefore we don't know anything. It doesn't teach us anything. We need to also be aware that we can't look at the fact that that was all made up and therefore conclude that its conclusions are therefore false.
Right.
Because they may still be true. It's just that
we don't know.
We have no evidence one way or the other still. We are exactly where we were before the study.
Yeah.
So we just have to we need to take care to not assume that the inverse is true because the study demonstrating something was faked.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. It was something I wanted to talk about, something that was absolutely ridiculous that people were being paid to do this thing, like Midnight Climax. Oh, there was something else. So the only reason why this stopped is Watergate. That's it. I mean, and we don't even know that it stopped. It's probably still going.
There was also the let's see, I looked it up. The United States President's Commission on CIA Activities within the United States, and it was under President Gerald Ford in 1975 to investigate the activities of the Central Intelligence Agency and other intelligence agencies within the United States.
Yeah, it was just like a FOIA, right?
Called the Rockefeller.
Oh, thank you for the bits, Willie Gus.
Rockefeller Commission. And they put a lot of information about MK Ultra that year, and that's kind of when the genie came out of the bottle and the CIA became exposed. They probably just wrapped it up in another program name and sent it over to another agency, and who knows who has it now. It could be Defense Intelligence or Homeland Security, or who knows.
I think it's also that this was the first time that the country in any tangible number had people suddenly not trusting the government. Because of MK Ultra being revealed right after
Pentagon Papers and Vietnam. There was already distrust being sowed.
But that's what I'm saying. This is because because it was in the mid 70s that it got revealed, huh? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my timeline was off. Yeah, we can look at U.S. prison systems in other countries similar to us, and other countries are way better in how they treat their prisoners and how guards are treated. Yes, Scandinavian countries especially.
The main problem with our prisons is that they are privatized for-profit operations. Yep. They should only be government-run institutions that are paid for by tax dollars.
But not like they were great when they were that, though.
It's better than having incentivized arrests for profit.
Yes.
I think.
I mean, I would say actually probably the single greatest problem, and I think that privatized prisons extend from this, is that prisons are intentionally designed to be punishment and not rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And they're
And because of
designed to
that,
have you come back multiple times once you get out.
yeah, recidivism, exactly.
I was hoping I would summon you, Maro dear. I was like, especially in Scandinavia. But yeah, so yeah, I saw like a thing about like a new prison in, I want to say Norway. And like the cell was nicer than any American college dorm room I've seen ever. Like, it was beautiful and comforting, and like you could see people going there and rehabilitating, not just, you know, sitting around.
Yeah.
And getting more criminal.
Yeah.
What you doing? Hi. You're cute. Oh, weirdo. Prisons that I've noticed are similar to the US prisons are third world countries. Yeah. I mean, there other countries have problems with their prison systems for sure. Like when I was doing the mafia research a couple weeks ago, one of their like tough guys wound up being arrested in Brazil, and Brazil is not a third world country, but their prison was just horrible. So there are problems with prisons everywhere. It's just a matter of looking at which countries care enough to try and fix that. And right now, the main ones I've seen are Scandinavian countries. Everyone else kind of seems like whatever, which I feel is kind of the same about like same attitude with drug rehabilitation. I feel like it's a lot more of a good approach there. Probably at the low security prison outside Oslo on an island. People get to go to work every day, etc. Lets them maintain income if they have a job and stuff, so their life isn't fucked once they get out. Really? How hard is that?
Yeah, it's like logical common sense. It's how it should be, but it's not.
Yeah, people shouldn't be going to prison to learn how to be better criminals, because that's what it is right now.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if there's a thing called the second world country. I mean, it's implied at least that would exist. I just never hear anyone saying it.
Yeah.
Holly, I had some questions as to when you're going to be returning to the stream, and I told them that I told the person who asked that you are very excited about it and already have a topic picked.
Oh, cool. I look forward to that. I enjoyed the last time you were on, Holly.
With your new face. The pains are popping up because that that sucks. There are second world countries is an actual thing that people say. We all want to see. Yes, definitely. ABB Terrace Swine complained that he was being held in isolation under inhumane conditions because he was given a PS3, not a PS4. Oh my gosh. That sounds like the dude who's annoyed that he couldn't get vegan food. The shaman.
Oh yeah, that guy.
More ball, less sports ball. Heyo. People don't say it much in the US because we love dichotomy. Yeah. I've seen prisons where if the prisoner is married and has kids, the whole family can move into a little apartment unit and everything in the prison. Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
I've never heard of that.
Apologies, I had myself muted. I was just saying that, yeah, basically it looks like Alien Sock Puppy pretty much nailed it exactly. First world countries were like US, France, the United Kingdom, etc. Basically, all the countries that were full of freedom, they could freedom against freedom to freedom the freedom. And then the second world countries were all the pinko commie bastards. And then third world countries were all the pawns in the Cold War that the United States and the Soviet Union used to fight each other. No, you were right. I was talking. I just had my mic muted by accident.
Something about Holly.
I had never heard second world countries used until today.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the issues is basically third world country means a pawn for the United States or the Soviet Union to use against each other. Like, that's what that actually means.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I always kind of wondered, but never got around to looking it up.
Yeah, they're unaligned, but like what that really meant is the United States or the Soviet Union might use them at any point against each other.
So cool being a part of this. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I'm not tired at all.
I mean, that was one of the mistakes that Soviet Union made was the fact that they attempted to use, you know, just like capitalists and their everything that they were doing, like fucking over the entire planet. Their response was like, okay, yeah, we'll try to use these pawn countries as well. And so, like, yeah, there was a lot of those countries that actually chose to try communism out, but a lot of them were kind of like pushed into it somewhat by coups as well. Like, there wasn't not a lot of choice for a lot of those countries one way or the other. Which is a whole lot of bullshit. Like, their self-determination is very important, and like I would like to argue for a lot of people to follow a more socialist, if not communist, ideal for how to structure a society. But that is a decision that each country should be making for themselves. That's not a decision that the United States or anyone else should be making for a country.
Right.
Except for the United States.
Right.
Yes, you're right. The Soviet Union should be making the decision for the United States.
That's definitely what I meant, yeah.
Yeah.
None of those terms are considered appropriate in anthropology because it connotates a rank. That
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And the other thing is, like, first and second world, those, like, first and second were in many ways conceptualized as, like, equal, and then third world were considered like the pawns. It was like a rook and a bishop versus all pawns. Like, one of these is better, but these are both very powerful, and then the rest of them is just like garbage. Was kind of the point of view that it had. And you're absolutely, none of them considered appropriate because it connotates a rank.
Sorry, I'm trying.
Yeah, Alien Sock Puppy just said any place that socialism was starting to work, the U.S. would send in their spooks to change regimes. They did that almost every 2 years from the 1950s through probably to current date. I can think of Grenada. They went to Laos, Vietnam.
Am I pronouncing that wrong? I thought it was Grenada.
Grenada?
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I could be. I am not saying I'm getting it right. I want to know if I'm getting it wrong.
I always heard it referred to in the news as Grenada, but I could be wrong.
Okay. We've learned doing this live stream that Danny does not know how to pronounce a lot of words.
Danny
it
learns
them from reading
both ways, or I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just was like, wait, I don't want to be saying that wrong.
I'm sorry,
there
Holly.
have been many regime changes by the CIA. It's kind of what they do. It's their thing. They're very good at, you have a foreign leader who's not amenable to Western ideals, we'll go right in, take care of them, install a new puppet that will be more amenable to what we want. We did it in Ukraine.
Yeah. That's one thing that the countries that did themselves actually make the self-determination to go with a socialist government. The United States went, no, you're fucking not.
Other countries should tell the United States, you're not our real mom, and slam the fucking door in the United States' face.
Yeah. Soviet Union was more of a light touch in terms of we think y'all should do this, and also you're our closest partners. So we're gonna put a lot of economic pressure on you to try to make sure that you make the socialist choice, and also it's good for the workers, etc. And the United States is, we're gonna murder everyone in your country that doesn't like what we're doing. Mm-hmm. One of these is not like the other.
I have said it the same, but according to Wikipedia, we're wrong. Oh, I need to give Smeagol love. Smeagol, you get love. Who wants to give Smeagol love?
What did you look up in Wikipedia? It was me, I guess.
Smeagol! Oh, you get love from whoever gave you love. You're so good. Me. And it was from you?
Yeah. He's in Gollum mode, though.
Look at the tail. She's furious. You can tell by the tail.
Your headphone fell out.
Yep. Where is it? I felt it. Oh no. Here it is. I found it. Okay.
So cute.
Wasn't Cuba a socialist country before Castro, or was that the reason they wanted to assassinate Castro?
No, Castro actually was part of the revolution there, if I remember correctly. Although also, hold on, let me think. I gotta remember this. Guevara was actually involved in the revolution in Cuba.
It's a kitty.
Never shy.
Oh. She doesn't look like an asshole at all.
She can be.
She's
a very cute one, though.
No, she. Yes, I know that well.
Yeah, Fidel Castro was the leader of was one of the leaders of the Cuban Revolution. But I believe Che was part of that as well.
Che Guevara?
Yeah. Che Guevara was one of the commanders / leaders, whatever. Let's see here. U.S. installed puppet in Cuba's Ptsd. Yes, correct. That is why, by the way, if you ever watch Dexter, one of the characters on there, one of the cops on there, is his last name is Batista, and he says many, many times, no relation. Or maybe that's in the books. I don't remember if it's in the books of the show.
I don't remember that, but it's been a long time since I've seen the show.
It might only be in the books. I don't recall. I was able to look it up and pull it on Wikipedia. Che Guevara was one of the people who helped overthrow the fashion. Let me see exactly what the actual model of the government there before Communist Revolution was.
They were very amenable to the West, and they were very into their casinos in Havana, the mob-run casinos in Havana, that the mob was very upset about, that they disappeared after the Batista regime was overtaken by Castro.
Yeah.
But Russia loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was very much just a revolution by the people there, and the United States went, hold on, y'all can't have your government running the way you want it to run. We have to end that immediately. And there were certainly some problems in Cuba in terms of how things were run, but the major problem was that the United States basically helped Batista stage a coup, which controlled pretty much everything in Cuba from that point forward. And yeah, it was ugh.
Woohoo.
Yeah, the whole Bay of Pigs invasion, a lot of people believe that's what ended up getting JFK killed, was our failure to invade Cuba and get Castro out of power.
Yeah.
JFK is a conspiracy theory that I tend to avoid.
It's such a rabbit.
By
It's
the
rabbit
people?
holes within rabbit holes.
Yeah. It's a lot. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know how to feel about it, and I don't want to do all the research that I need to do in order to know how to feel about it.
It's.
I simply don't think there's
you could spend
enough
your entire
information.
life researching it alone.
That's like it's Jack the Ripper. Like, you're not going to figure it out. It's not figure outable.
Well, and it was designed that way too.
Yeah.
Paige, the wait, hold on. Why are Axie Mom and Paige fighting? Oh.
Oh, because people are gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, money, exactly.
Yeah,
Money,
because
oil, arms. Those are usually
People.
the main reasons for our interest in sticking our nose in other countries where it doesn't belong. It's usually oil or money or weapons.
Mardir
Or a
has
combination of any of the three.
Yeah. Mardir has a comment that says, have you seen the document accidentally published in Russia, likely written before the invasion, celebrating their victory and how fast and peacefully it went, and containing the real motivation for Putin's invasion of Ukraine?
No.
Bo has a video on it that links to the original on the Wayback Machine, as well as the English translation planned for publication in Pakistan.
Wow.
Very interesting reading. I'll have to take a look.
Yeah.
I like, you know, that feeling of like where you're just like, I am really conflicted between my obsessive need to be completely informed with what's going on and my mental health that doesn't want to hear anything about what's going on. I'm just trying to walk that line. It's fun. Yeah. So, I like whatever Buttspot just did. Pop money. It's almost Hanson-y. Okay. So. It's midnight.
No dremeling tonight?
No what?
No dremeling tonight?
I got it all done right before the stream. Sorry, I was thinking like, oh, MK's missing out on his ASMR. But I had to Dremel the little bench. Or not bench, stool. And now it looks like, oh.
What are you working on right now?
So this, to go with Franny, because she has her stand-up mic, and stand-ups need a bench for some reason. On the bench is going to be Ramona.
Is a bench.
Stool. Why do I keep saying bench? On the stool is going to be Ramona, her cat.
Cool.
And then this is the TYT desk. And that goes with this guy.
And are these all the ones that Brian is 3D printing as part of the accessory that goes with each one now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you missed it, Brian decided that every Funko should have an accessory. So we're working on that. This is Jang's accessory, which is the desk in its entirety.
That desk that you showed, like the pieces that you had to get off, they look really nice and polished after you did it. I was really impressed with how good that turned out.
That's this one. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Unrecognizable, right? So used to the Smeagol camera being right here, so I'm like, you know Smeagol camera. Yeah. A stool is just a one-person bench. Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, Holly.
Good night, Holly.
Good night, Holly.
Sleep well. Back in the Cold War, any country hinting at socialism was a target for American intervention because socialism equals the USSR. Oh, so the whole like reason that MK Ultra started this was the excuse that MK Ultra started, was because after World War II, some soldiers decided to stay in Russia because they decided they liked it. They'd found love, families, whatever. They're like, we want to stay here. We're defecting and we're staying in Russia. And the government went, they're obviously brainwashed. There's no way that someone wouldn't want to come back to America. And why would they stay in Russia? So they were just like, obviously they're brainwashed. So obviously the enemy is brainwashing people. So obviously we need to figure out how to brainwash people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how that happened right there.
I would really like to delve further. I wish I knew Russian or could find a good translation service for research, but I would love to look into Russia's government's use of MK Ultra like project.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Too bad that they don't release shit.
Well,
I mean, a lot of the USSR documents have been
the KGB
released.
Became very loose-lipped, and you can find a lot of documents on things that happened pre-1990.
Chernobyl is on my eventual list to cover.
Yeah, if y'all have not seen y'all haven't seen the actual Netflix, I don't want to call it a documentary exactly because it's very slightly...
The series?
The series,
it's HBO, I think.
Oh, I know, it's also on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Or wait, you know how I watch TV? I don't know where things actually are. Yeah. They just appear on my hard drive out of nowhere magically.
Yep.
Have a good night, Alien Sock Puppy.
Good night, Alien Sock Puppy. Say good night to Alien Sock Wife.
But I don't want to quite call it a documentary because they do fictionize some minor aspects. A team of like a dozen scientists was like coalesced into one character.
Yeah.
For simplicity of storytelling. So it's inaccurate in a few respects that way.
I would say that rather than calling it like inaccurate or whatever, I would say that it's a reenactment, because reenactments kind of imply like things are a little bit fudged for the cameras.
Or dramatization.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dramatization.
Yeah, but like the shape of like it's one of those things like ethical storytelling. It's definitely ethical storytelling.
Yes,
because you will understand the general shape
really
of things, how things happened, etc. when you watch that. So, but it's extremely good. Captures your interest extremely well
and immediately.
And yeah, just instantaneously. And if I remember correctly,
like it starts a little slow for like half an hour, and then it just doesn't stop.
Yeah, and like the way it starts out is, I think it starts out like 2 seconds after the disaster. If that, like
something like that,
yeah, it's like them going, what the fuck
it's someone
just
being
happened?
Woken up by the explosion, I believe.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I can't imagine the men who had to clear that radioactive debris off of the roof of that reactor. I mean, knowing that they
oh my gosh, it's so powerful in that series.
Yeah, it's just sad, that whole situation, that they sacrificed so many people to save. I mean, really, it wasn't going to be a global catastrophe if they didn't get it under control. So,
yeah, like the decisions they made to clean things up the way they did were the right decisions.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are now in the find out part.
Yeah.
But so there's that part where the miners had to like go and help remove all the material and everything, and it was basically like a suicide mission. Apparently none of them have actually died from that. I believe it might not be none of them, but almost none of them.
Going down had so many men working in like seconds of shifts. Like they were only allowed to be up there for like 30 or 45 seconds max or something.
No, these are the it's been a while since I've
You're talking about the ones that went down into the water to close the gates. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like the reason
that was a suicide mission.
Like it was supposed to be a suicide mission, and it turned out it wasn't. Like they were fine.
Yeah.
And it was probably because of the amount of water that absorbed all of the radiation. Is why they probably
there were
survived.
Several levels that had flooded, and then they thought that certain areas were hotter than others, so the water didn't evenly disperse around it. But they happened to be in an area where the water did reach. So
Yeah.
luckily for them.
Yeah. One interesting thing is like most nuclear reactors are submerged in like a deep well of water, and you can actually like stand at the top of this well and of water that's like maybe 30 meters deep. It's about 90 feet for all the Americans, including myself. So it's like 30 meters down, if I remember correctly. And like you look at this and you can see this blue glow from it, and that's Cherenkov radiation. And it's not actually like dangerous radiation, it's just normal light that's emitted. Was that?
Is it alpha particles that make that?
I believe so. I believe that's correct. I don't want to say absolutely certain because I don't recall directly off the top of my head.
I think it's alphas that glow like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Splutbringer, thank you for resubscribing. 3 months. Awesome. I'm so glad to see you.
I just realized why that part wasn't showing up.
Apparently, Russia has like, I don't think it's recaptured, but they've like taken Chernobyl, and like they're talking about maybe using it as some sort of like command center because you can't bomb Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Like you cannot be taken out if you're in Chernobyl.
Nobody's going to risk hitting any of that.
Yeah. But yeah, like that Cherenkov radiation, you can see that, and you can see all that radiation coming off of it because the Cherenkov radiation is perfectly harmless, and the actual alpha particles, etc., don't reach far enough to actually get to you. I mean, you can block alpha particles with a sheet of paper. They're harmless, unless they're inside you, and like then you're fucked. But it turns out you can actually go swimming in a nuclear reactor, and as long as you don't go too far down, the amount of radiation you'll experience in there is less than if you're standing outside of it, because the water is absorbing so much radiation, not only directly from the reactor, but also from like everything else around you, that like the trace radioactive potassium in the concrete around you will give you more radiation than from if you're standing in the air than if you're just in the water above a nuclear reactor.
I remember reading and constructing a nuclear bunker that they use water in between walls a lot to, protect it from nuclear radiation.
Yeah, water is
better
extremely
than sand or concrete or earth or whatever else they use to backfill a wall.
Yeah, it's extremely functional. The only thing literally better is lead, but lead is expensive as hell, and water is very plentiful. So 100 feet or like 10 feet of water is better than an inch of lead, and 10 feet of water is a lot cheaper. So depending on your exact circumstances, water is more functional. Also, water is a neutron moderator, if I remember correctly, which means that it helps the nuclear reaction happen more quickly, but also slows down the neutrons so they don't get as far away. So it's one of those weird things that makes it less dangerous, but also makes it react faster. If I remember correctly, I'm not a nuclear physicist.
What?
Paige said Putin is smart but dumb, would totally do something stupid like blowing up Chernobyl. I don't think he'd blow up Chernobyl because that would guaranteed have 99% most effect on Ukraine and Russia, more than it would have an effect on other countries. And like he is trying to take Ukraine, doesn't really want to like make Ukraine uninhabitable, because then no one gets it and he can't take it later. Like if he can't take it now, he's going to try to take it in 5 years from now, and bombing Chernobyl means he can't ever get it. So I don't suspect he would do that, but who knows.
Well, I always thought Chernobyl would make a really good hiding place for, I'm sure they get their curiosity people who sneak in despite the background radiation levels or whatever, but it seems like generally if you have that whole town that you could stash anything anywhere.
There was this really weird meme that was happening where like women were going and taking sexy pictures of Chernobyl. That was weird. That was really weird. Like, that was a
Don't
real
do
thing
that.
that was happening.
Don't ever do that.
Yeah, that's not a good
Yeah, you don't want radioactive dust emitting alpha particles in your no spots. That's going to give you unpleasant radiation burns and unpleasant kinds of cancer.
very sensitive skin down there. Protecting.
Yeah, mucous membranes are one of those places you do not want exposed to radioactive dust, period.
Or biochemical weapons.
Give me the biochemical weapons over the radioactive dust, please. Thank you. Seriously.
Toss up.
I mean, it's like the radioactive dust. Yeah, you'll, like, if it's low enough level, you'll be fine for 5 years until you die of a very painful cancer.
Cancer.
The biochemical weapon will kill me quickly, if it's going to kill me at least.
The world we live in.
It's an interesting one.
Or when the government was just giving people free drugs. That's how I'm choosing to frame it right now. To be cheerful. That's the cheerful spin on MK Ultra. Welcome back, Raffle. Because of the sexy pictures. Trump, I'm sure, will give him America in 2024 if Putin right price. Chernobyl is basically a wildlife sanctuary now. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
They have
one of my
radiation
favorite
on animals there, don't they?
what's
Aren't
that
there
saying?
like genetic mutations happening?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like it's low enough level that it's not like causing severe mutations, and like animals are surviving there, but their lives are basically just shortened significantly, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
There's also one of my favorite memes on the internet, which is absolutely terrifying. It's like one of those like scary signs memes, which is, please don't pet the radioactive dogs of Chernobyl.
Oh,
Or
God.
radioactive puppies.
Like
Do not pet the radioactive
bear
puppies.
sign.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Radioactive puppies, that's a thing. Also, Florida had radioactive gators for a while.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let's level up the gators. Yeah, that sounds like...
We're going to give them, we're going to make them radioactive and feed them a bunch of meth. That's Florida.
It sounds like there's some island
was how
of
the state
Dr.
was founded,
Moreau
right?
around here somewhere that we don't know about.
Sorry, say it again, Raul.
Have you ever seen that movie, The Island of Dr. Moreau, where he did all those weird genetic experiments?
Yeah, but not
with
since I was a
animals?
kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They brought it back in Spy Kids 3D.
Also, there was a episode of Sliders that was basically Island of Dr. Moreau.
Steve Buscemi played the doctor.
Also, my brain short-circuited there for a second, and when I tried to say MK Ultra, I just stumbled over Waffle for some reason.
Everyone stumbles over a raffle every now and then. Okay.
I'm trying to think of a good like subject that we could, in theory, do. You know the white parts on those are normally blue, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just a base.
Oh, okay, good. Just making sure. I'm trying to think of a subject we could do in order to show another one of my favorite movies, which I don't think I've tricked you into watching. Gotten you to watch yet, which is Shakes the Clown.
No, but we've talked about it.
Yeah, I just can't think of an actual subject, a historical subject that would have anything to do with it at all. Like it's about an alcoholic clown. Like I can't think of anything closely related to history that would work on.
John
No,
Wayne
wasn't
Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy? Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Like you realize you played yourself, right?
Are you just trying to trick me into doing true crime?
No,
I'm not
trying
covering John Wayne Gacy right now, though.
I'm trying to trick you into watching my favorite movies. And to offer them to everyone who's watching.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't mean to say subject everyone to them. That's not what I meant to say. I want to subject all our viewers to the movies that I like.
What was that one with the nun?
None of that.
Yeah.
Clown crime is real. Clown on clown crime is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Shakes the Clown. That's Shakes is the name of the clown, and his name is Shakes because he's got the shakes because he's an alcoholic. And he's played by Bobcat Goldthwait,
Oh wow.
and it
I haven't
is
thought about him in a long
absolutely
time.
it's absolutely fantastic. And also Robin Williams has a cameo, an uncredited cameo.
Oh wow.
Which is it's absolutely he has a cameo. I don't want to describe anything
I
about his
can't
cameo,
believe
but
I've never heard of this movie because I thought I'd seen almost everything that both of them were in. Was it like an independent type film, or was it box office?
Maybe. I'm not sure if it went the box office, but like Adam Sandler's in it.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
Paige, I totally know that story that you're talking about. I can't remember the name, but I've heard of that one. Yeah, that's real. That's a real thing that happened. All
Let me
right.
see who else is in it real quick. Let's see here. Adam Sandler, Bobcat Goldthwait, Robin Williams, Tom Kenny, Blake Clark, which like everyone knows who that is, but they may not know him by name.
Just like instead of doing a Star Trek stream one weekend, do a Discord movie night.
Yeah, we could do that. And like one of the taglines for the movie is, "It's the Citizen Kane of alcoholic clown movies."
That's quite a review.
Which, I mean,
I praise.
to be fair, that's true. It is the best of all alcoholic clown movies.
I don't. I
Which
feel
there
like
are
it
so
can't
many.
possibly be the only alcoholic clown movie. I mean, just because of how humanity works.
Oh, holy shit. Apparently, okay, in an interview with Conan O'Brien, Bobcat revealed that Martin Scorsese had defended the movie from detractors. When a film critic derided the movie in order to make a point about good and bad movie, Scorsese revealed, "I liked Shakes the Clown. Haven't you heard? It's the Citizen Kane of alcoholic clown movies." So that was a statement by Martin Scorsese.
Wow.
It's an incredible movie. It's just Kathy Griffin's in it.
What year was it? In the 90s?
91, I want to say. Yeah, 1991.
That's the year Beauty and the Beast came out.
And yeah, Robin Williams is credited as Marty Fromage. Oh, hi, Speak Minds.
Hey, Speak Minds.
Hello.
Welcome.
I wonder how many people are watching the State of the Union.
Is it still happening right now? It's late.
I don't know if
At
it's
least
still on.
18 people aren't.
Yeah, like right before we started, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's happening tonight."
Good
Say
night, Ralph.
anything helpful. Good night, Raffle. Sleep well. Andrew, have you ever watched Doctor Who? Because the first episode of the new Who centers around sentient mannequins that are trying to kill you, and it's very fun.
Oh wow. I haven't seen any
like the
of
first time I watched it, I
latest.
was like, I haven't either. I was like, why do you want me to hate this show? But yeah. Okay.
Brian, you need to tuck Raffle in.
He's not at the keyboard, so you're gonna have to wait a second. I'm having to paint too many straight lines tonight, and my brain doesn't like that.
Oh yeah, that's probably hard to do on tiny things, huh?
Hard to do in general for me. I get handshakes,
Yeah.
but a lot of them tonight. Thank you. Smeagol speaking. Yeah. Just like, all right, what's going on now?
All right, Raffle. Tell you what, it's time to go to bed. So lay down, go to sleep, and try not to think of bed bugs biting into your skin, burrowing in, and making a home in your subcutaneous layer, and just like filtering out through your skin, itching all the way. Good night.
Green New Deal, you've been watching Pushing Daisies. Hell yeah.
I think I've ever heard.
It's beautiful.
Very.
Oh man, Pushing Daisies is so good. Okay.
Rude Rookie just redeemed. Get Smeagol a snack.
Smeagol hasn't had a snack yet this.
Yeah, it's funny because I just sat back down. I'll go get it. Hold on.
Yeah, he was right
Poor
over by the snacks. I
Brian.
told you that we need a container here.
Yeah. Would she smell it though and like try to get into it?
Probably, but that would just mean, oh cool, we can set up the camera on the desk again. Because someone just all of a sudden stopped caring about the paint can.
Amazing.
You better go get it. Yeah, you better go get it.
Meegs, why don't you care about the paint can anymore?
Yeah. Are you gonna get it? No, we're not barking. Be polite. No, be polite, please.
Oh, she's got such a cute bark. Oh.
Oh, there goes the camera. Up here. Up here. Come on, it's up here.
Mm-hmm. Her little front paws kill me. They're so cute.
I have one of them right here. Yep. That's you. Who did that? And we're back.
That's always so fun.
But yeah, so you all just got to see Smeagol there.
I think
Instead of
that's my
Gollum.
favorite redeem now of all time.
Getting to actually see Smeagol, yeah.
Well,
I'm glad
getting
I
to see
decided
her
to start
eat
putting on your
treats
head.
off of your head, mostly.
Like that wasn't even part of the original idea. I just remember like the first time we got it, I was like, I know exactly where this has to go. On top of your head.
Oh, you mean you just invented that? It's not something you always do?
No, we've been doing that for like about a week now or something like that.
But you've done it like before, just like casually, like in life, for sure. You've made her get like food.
I don't know if she's done it off the top of your head specifically.
I don't.
But yes.
Maybe not that one.
But like off your shoulder or something like
Yeah.
that.
You.
Yeah. Okay. It's starting to look like the TYD desk. Yes, Smeagol. Okay.
Do you put like a
Oh.
final clear coat on it or something to seal the
Yeah.
paint? Or is
Yeah,
it
I
just good
use
enough quality?
polyurethane.
Mm.
No, this is just acrylic paint. Nothing fancy. So I have polyurethane.
Does it smell really bad when you polyurethane it?
It doesn't smell great,
strong?
but it's not like taking over the entire house or anything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ricky. Are we sure that's Smeagol? I think that's a furry human with no arms. She just closed the door to her house. Is that where you live now? You live there? Yeah. What was I doing? Who am I? Okay. I know there's more to talk about regarding MK Ultra. I'm just kind of blanking on some of it right now because I got so fucking distracted by that video game.
Yeah.
Like
getting
that was a
late.
whole thing. Cause yeah, I don't know.
The video
But I'm
game
definitely gonna be
is-
doing more
I'm gonna have to
research.
look more into that because I want to see what the actual gameplay looks like. If there is any real
I
footage
will
of it.
post the video that I found that had someone like who recreated it. I think, or like tried to. So I'll post that in the Discord. Can you do a Discord, please? Smeagol, you get love. But I can't reach you. Brian's gonna have to give you love. So if you join Discord, give her love. MK Ultra's that. So Discord. So tomorrow night we're gonna have a gaming stream, our third ever gaming stream. Smeagol, you're getting love. Oh, you get so much love from Paige because you're so
What are you going to
good.
be playing this time?
So we talked about doing Myst again. We also talked about trying out some horror games because I am terrible at watching horror stuff, and it's guaranteed to be hilarious.
Or like a jump scare game?
Preferably not jump scares, but I don't know. We'll find out.
Don't worry, I won't tell her it's a jump scare game.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna do that tomorrow. And then Thursday we'll talk more MK Ultra stuff. And then Saturday, if you weren't here in the beginning of the stream, Saturday one of my good friends is going to be guesting on the stream. Not MK Ultra is a good friend who guested, but another good friend who's guesting. He's the one who did my logo. So if you see the Smeagol in a suitcase, he did that. And he's gonna be doing a bunch more art for the channel. And so we're gonna be doing it live, so y'all can like vote on stuff. We can do polls. You can make suggestions. We'll figure it out. It'll be fun. I don't know what horror.
To hear about that idea, so
we like just came up with it.
There. When is he gonna be on?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did. Sorry, what'd you say?
Instead of Chatterday, is that what you're doing? Is that when he's on?
Yes. So Chatterday will be taken over by Art.
All right. Cool.
But my friend Billy. Hold on one second. Have you not seen her jump when she gets raided? Yeah, that's the perfect example. Every single raid. I swear. The Titanic game in zombie mode. Is that a thing?
Did you? You could never get
Yes.
the Titanic game
Okay,
working, could you?
Did we wind up getting it working later? No. Yeah, that sucks.
It seems like it's hard to translate from virtual reality to non-virtual reality game.
Oh, was that the issue? That it was made to be virtual reality? Like I was supposed to be
think
wearing it
so.
on my face?
Well, it was originally developed that way, but like they released a version that was supposed to work just on a desktop by itself, but like it's flawed. It doesn't work.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, so Saturday will be art takeover. Pretty pumped about it. Why are you packing Smeagol in a suitcase? The logo was designed right around the time that I decided to leave California. And one of my like goals is to turn this into a traveling history show, like long-term goals. I'd like to be able to go around places and like not just
That'd
talk
be
about them
amazing.
from here.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that sound fun? I wanna be Anthony Bourdain, but instead of food with history, it's history with food.
Oh wow, that's a good idea. Well, I would
Thank
watch
you.
it.
I'm hoping that I can get there. It'll be a fun journey either way. I happen to have a friend who makes shows like that, which kind of helps the odds of it happening. But
Yeah.
but yeah. So
And
best
we
jump
have
scare
to
raid I
say,
think was the
it
TYT
was
raid.
National Pancake Day. Did you guys know that? It was National
It was
Pancake
what day?
today. National
Oh.
Pancake.
We almost got pancakes. I considered it. Yes, I literally threw my glasses and headphones off at the same time when I got a TYT raid. I think it was like during like a suspenseful scene in the game or something. So join for tomorrow. Murder trivia on Jackbox like we do sometimes on Game Busters. I kick ass at that game.
And we can definitely do that. I do have all of the Jackbox games.
Yeah, so we'll figure that out. So tomorrow, we'll start out with me doing a game, and then we can segue into Jackbox, I think. Does that sound good to people? And then, yeah, so Thursday, more MK Ultra. Saturday, art. And then, I also announced next week's theme. Yes. What's up, Matt?
I said I was gonna try to see if I can do any research on the Russian side of MK Ultra for Thursday.
Yes, definitely. And then we're going to have to do
there.
Chernobyl at some point in the future.
Okay.
And so next week's theme and audience participation too, yeah. Minus the suicide in the end. Yes, that's the hope. So next week's theme, I announced it earlier. It's going to be the Perones. They were dictators in Argentina. My family is from Argentina, and my grandfather was in the resistance against the Perones. It's a whole thing. I'm really excited to talk about it. We're talking like OG Antifa type stuff. And yeah, so if you've heard of the movie or musical Evita, that is the very sugar-coated tale of Eva Peron.
It's basically springtime for Hitler, but not Hitler. It's Perones instead.
Yeah, like they loved the Nazis. Like they're very linked to this story today.
I just meant like because springtime for Hitler was
They also are the reason why all the Nazis got to escape to Argentina. Like they opened those gates. They made a bunch of fake passports, and like Peron himself was like handing them out to Nazis. Yeah, it's real bad. And then my uncle is like super opinionated about it, and so I've been like kind of interviewing him to get like more of the family side, plus like someone, you know, he wasn't there when it was happening, but his dad was. Yeah. Well, my maternal grandfather, but so it'll be fun. I'm a little nervous about it, but it's a good topic that too many people are very unaware of. Argentina history is wild. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm going to stop talking about Argentina history next week, right when shit gets crazy. Because right after the Perones is when shit went wild. But yeah, let's see.
I'm excited to hear about that. Sounds very interesting.
I'm excited to do more research on them, honestly, because I haven't had an excuse to do that as an adult. So, but yeah. So join tomorrow, join Thursday, join the Discord, please. That's where all the announcements and everything go. I will post some videos about today. Matt will post some videos about today's thing as well. You said you had a video to post, right? Or am I just telling people that?
No, okay. I've got a couple links I'll put in the Discord.
It is still your family, whether it's your grandfather or multiple members. Yeah, that's true.
You just don't want to misrepresent the exact situation.
Yeah. Can I have a request? Yeah, what's up? We're done with Nexium. Yeah, so we finished up with Cult Week. I'm sure we will go back and do more cults because that is a never-ending source of stories.
I'd like to do a Koresh. That would be interesting. The branch Davidians.
I'm definitely going to be doing Jonestown at some point.
That would be very good.
Jonestown, he's fascinating. And like I talked about it in Cult Week, like Jonestown probably would have gotten me. Like I don't think Nexium would have, but I think Jonestown would have. Which I think it's important to really think, like, would this have gotten me? Because you can't just think I would never fall for a cult, because then you're going to fall for a cult.
Right.
No.
I mean, Andrew, there is a number which is enough cults, and that enough cults is 0. There should be 0 cults. That's enough cults for the world.
Andrew just wants to be leader of a cult. That's his main ambition. He's a very diabolical man.
I'll just be a leader of a cult of 1. There you go.
That can count as a cult. We always come back to cults because Danny's in a cult.
Over the world, so.
I just know lots of true crime. That's all. And cults
it was nice to be on stream, Ricky. I'm glad that you guys all got to see me and meet me.
I'm so glad that you agreed to do this. Like, thank you.
I was really nervous at first, but I got comfortable pretty quick, I think. So
I told you my like way to get Matt to be like not freaking out was I told him, just imagine we're at a cafe and we're chatting and people are listening because the cafe is really crowded. Like, that's the best way of thinking of it for me. Right. Can we stream next Monday so I don't have to go through that day alone? Oh, I'm so sorry, Paige. I don't know what's happening on Monday. I do not stream on Mondays. No, I think Adiana streams on Mondays though, so you should try and join that. She's really like most of the people in here are from Adiana's channel. So
she has a very beautiful voice.
Yes, and she will make you feel better for sure. Just listening to her voice.
Definitely worth it to check her out if you haven't.
Do a shout out?
She's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's since Audie and I basically share an audience at this point. Like, if she's streaming and I'm streaming, then like that's not fair to the people who want to watch both, and it's not fair to either of us because both of us want to watch each other and we want to support each other and we don't want to be like competing and the whole thing. So yeah, okay. Did I have anything else I need to say? Hi, Smeeks. Hi. Okay. Let's talk raid. Who should be raided? Actually, MK, do you have someone that you would like to raid? You should be able to choose.
Unless Allie and the Songery is on, that's the only thing I can think of. Other than that, I guess we could go to TYT.
Are they still on?
I guess not.
Dominican. Oh, hello. I didn't know you were Dominican Speak Minds. Are you still in the Dominican Republic? But yeah, Trujillo. I remember reading about him a long time ago, but I don't remember the details. There's too many dictators to keep track of because that's the world we live in.
No, I don't really see anybody on my list.
Okay.
Other than...
Let's see who's on. David Frank drums, Pixel Smixel, Very Handsome Billy, Bagel Rabbit, Lost Sioux, which is about Native American history and whatever they're covering tonight.
That would be interesting.
I think we lost.
What's up?
Oh, there we go. Okay. MK's video wasn't updating for some reason.
Oh.
It's fixed now. Oh, no, it went away again. That's bizarre. Yep. There we go. Okay, that should be fixed.
Okay. Yeah, so did any of those sound like anyone particularly wants to watch, or does anyone have a request for Pinko the Bear? We could totally do Pinko. We haven't done him in a while, actually. I have family there, and my aunt worked for him. Oh, wow. That's hardcore. So you also have a family connection to Latin dictator. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so see you guys tomorrow and or Thursday and or Saturday. Thank you everyone for joining. And we're gonna go raid Pinko. So we're also trying to get Pinko to come on here at some point, hopefully. We've been chatting about it and talking about like communism history and stuff.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you, Danny and Brian, for having me, and Smeagol, of course.
Thank you so much for joining. This was
You're
super
very
fun.
welcome. It was a lot of fun having you on
Thursday.
tonight.
I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too in the chat.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Smeagol, say good night. Good night.
Good night, Smeagol.
Good night, everyone. Good night. You're so cool. Yeah. Yeah. Gonna get you. Ah! All right. And we're good.
All right. So everyone, tomorrow-ish?
Tomorrow at 9.
Okay. Yeah.
Man.
See you tomorrow, 9-ish.
Eastern.
Sounds good.
Eastern.
Thank you, guys.
Good night. Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye.
Okay.